You're out of fuckus, Newman.
Woo-hoo! Fuck us. Welcome, misfits, to this episode of Skeptic and Ranting. End of the world theology. Dun dun dun.
The end is nigh.
The end is nigh. Tonight, we're throwing an apocalypse party as we talk about end of the world theology. So come join James W. and myself, Amy Newman, as we have fun worth burning for.
And then we'll start prepping for the end of the world,
Yay! Woohoo! Hi, everyone.
A little earlier tonight than normal,
yes,
but we are here.
We're almost able to go at like a kind of reasonable time. Kind of. I want to thank everyone for joining us out there on our inner tubes. Oh my gosh, how do they fit the internet through there? That's amazing. Al Gore, are you there?
He's saving a spotted owl. Don't worry about him. He'll be fine.
If you're feeling fancy, don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe and hit that all button icon so you can get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. In fact, we're going to have our first new premiere of Talk Skeptic to Me, I think this upcoming week. Woo-hoo! We're a skeptic channel, but at the back end of the show, we'll be opening up the floodgates, meaning anyone can join the open mic and say what's on their mind. Amazing. We'll also give everyone the chance to have their own opening and closing statements.
Even if that's not a good idea, we'll do it anyway.
We get some good information. We get some value. You get to say your point of view without a filter. Maybe we should have a filter, but that's okay. We're doing it anyway. Frig it, we'll do it live. Atheist or theist, liberal or conservative, come as you are. Just not on the sheets. Just wash the sheets. Okay.
Not on the cat either.
No, not on Moonlight.
Even the Bible doesn't approve of that, so there you go.
That's true. Even the Bible. They get to it eventually anyway. They get through like a whole bunch of crazy shit and a whole bunch of shit that they say basically don't do. But then eventually they're like, whew, that was crazy.
Probably not have sex with animals. There you go.
We should probably not have sex with animals or do that whole incest thing anymore. Whoopsie.
Yeah. I mean, it worked fine for all this time, but having sex with your parents and your kids or your brothers and dad, don't do that anymore.
I'm fairly sure there were 2 times in the Bible where that had to happen or the story wouldn't have been able to continue. Very little.
See Hovind part 5 on that. He'll tell you all about how God made that work. Yeah.
You can also find our Patreon page at patreon.com/Amy Newman.
Down there on the bottom near the depths of hell.
How did they get it?
Keep our Patreon.
Which helps us make even more fun content, including awesome Patreons like Avengers, unless they have that copyrighted, in which case,
comic book villain, comic book character,
legendary mythos, Thor and KO Champ.
He got him. You got him, Newman.
You got him right here. But also, Oz from the Atheist, it is Round Table, the network group that is now connecting atheists.
that network thing.
But also, we are sending love to Ian Davenport.
Thank you, Ian.
Woohoo! Thank you, Ian. Mostly atomically correct. Asterisk. But also, not just Ian, but also.
What happened?
That's me hacking into the internet. Definitely. Okay. That's how you hack in. That's the hacking sound.
Oh. I'll ask somebody about it. Let me see.
I'll ask somebody. I know a guy. But also, a grumpy old.
Huh? You're roboting. You're roboting. I can't hear you.
Let me try. I'm sorry. Let me get through the internet tubes. Hold on. Here we go. And a grumpy old.
No, you're still.
God damn you, YouTube censors. They just hate that PC. It's just they're trying to cancel us. But also, Diana, 3 princesses in 1, sending so much love. Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you, Diane.
Woo-hoo. I like Disney princesses. And also, sending love in the past, but technically in the future because he's
saw him
just
in the stream last night. Yeah.
Oh, really? Sending love to Pat.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat. Woo-hoo. Discover something big over there.
That's right. Discover at least something 15 foot. In fact, did you know that whales have a 15? Anyway, thank you, Pat. Yeah. Woohoo!
Maybe we'll find evidence Jesus went to Britain after he came to America and met with Joseph Smith. He went back in time and went to ancient Britain. Maybe
now it makes sense why it was a white Jeebus. It's all coming together. Also, that's what she said. And once again, this is where I have to do an Oz shout out of myth. There we go. See, I'm still
just a myth. Yeah. We'll get to there, Newman. Come on.
Get the coming. I don't even get the whole coming, but I like the whole sacrifices thing. That makes complete sense in like the fact that holy shit, the Jews just seem to have a fetish with it. Well, not the Jews, because the Jews almost seem like I don't want to say victims. You're my chosen people. Yeah. Chosen people. No, I mean like in the Bible. I mean like they don't even most of the Jews, half of them know like the gig like they're like you read the Bible. Yeah, Torah, bacon. Of course we eat bacon. It's like okay, but what about the war god? Netflix, whatever. Anyway,
flooded the earth. Noah. Gilgamesh.
I mean, he's really evil in my opinion. So that's the hard dichotomy in like the Jews square that circle by completely ignoring it, but he's evil. He's friggin' evil. Except he lets you die. It's not
5D chess, Amy. It's on like infinite D chess. It's like, yeah.
It will. If once we die and go up there or are burning, we'll understand how much he loves us in all his infinite wisdom. Once we're burning as part of the plan, then we'll understand why it was so good for us to burn.
Yeah, how just it is and how, exactly. Like the people who God has actually taken people from earth and he's put them in hell just to experience it so that after that they can come back and they can write books and make different presentations and collect money. But it's fine because they're getting the word of the truth out. So, you go ahead and you can go to Amazon, you can buy their books, you can, watch their seminars. And they're nice of God to do that to them. But
so nice of God. I also don't think believers or really anybody can conceptualize the concept of infinity.
Right.
Just absolute torture forever. I don't understand how that's just not the bad guy. Come on, people.
Well, I guess if he's not torturing you forever, if he's burning somebody else forever, someone that you don't like forever, maybe Hey.
But let's do it. Let's break Godwin's law for this podcast. But Amy, but James, are you telling me that you're okay with Hitler getting away with it? Is that what you're saying? You want Hitler to get away with it? Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. No. We are dealing with the reality that when people are dead, they are just fucking soil. I don't know what you want us to do with that. It is part of being an adult to realize that people just die. It doesn't matter if you want them to get judged or like, I don't know.
Like a killer who commits suicide or like, yeah, he kills his whole family and commits suicide. You can't bring him back and put him in jail or try him. He's just dead. I mean, that might not sound very good that there's nothing we could do, but there's nothing we could do.
But James, does that mean he got away with it and then he dies? Yes. Yes, but it is.
Since you're on the other side of that, I'm going to guess that most of those the Jewish people that were hauled off in the trains did not secretly believe in Jesus. So if you were going to be killed by the Nazis, as soon as you died, like if they shot you or whatever, and then you died and you go to see God, you'll infinitely think those Nazis were a lot nicer than God, because you just went from a grave in the ground to hell, and you're going to be there forever. Because you didn't get the memo about Jesus. You didn't get that memo, so I'm sorry.
And it goes back to the conceptualization of torture forever. So Auschwitz, one of the most horrible
it was a terrible place,
things, except for the Armenian genocide, which is a genocide, by the way. That's why it was coined the term genocide. I don't even know why that's a debate. But the Auschwitz, one of the probably worst scourges of humanities on earth. But isn't hell technically that forever? I mean, that's the whole concept. I mean, they would say, but it's the bad people, and the bad people are, who are the bad people again? Oh, is it just the Hitlers? Is it just filled with Hitlers? No. Oh, just people who didn't believe, huh? Oh.
Yeah. So the inmates in there, they were just as guilty as the guards in the eyes of God. I mean, they don't believe in Jesus. So as soon as, if they get killed there, I'm going to send them to hell. They're going to burn forever. They didn't get the memo on Jesus. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be burned.
It also means that under this God, if you believed in the wrong deity, you suffered in a place like Auschwitz to be tortured to your last breath, died, woke up just to be tortured forever for believing in the wrong God.
Yeah.
Am I understanding the theology correctly here?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because as bad as Auschwitz was, 2 seconds in hell would be worse than 1,000,000 years in Auschwitz. So, I mean, is God worse than the Nazis? I mean, I guess because he's God, so he judges everybody correctly, so everybody in hell deserves to be there, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Not buying what he's selling.
Nope.
And okay, on that happy note, and I think it's going to be, like I said, we're throwing a whole apocalypse party. We can't help but have so many fun notes, but we have assembled the entire Skeptic team. We're also sending love to Dale Pastel.
Thank you, Dale. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm thinking that I want to pose like this. Yes.
Should we call Otangelo? Do we need to get him in here? And
we need to have a role play? Yes. Yeah. Sending love to him.
Come on,
and okay. Or all of our theist brothers and sisters at the end where we have all gotten our theology wrong, you can say, this is where James, Amy, you skeptics, you can't take it like that. You got to understand the context. If you take it here and here and here and here on Tuesday, it's actually good.
Well, yeah, and if any of them want to come on and give a date for the apocalypse or make any kind of prophecies like that, we'd be welcome to hear it.
That's right.
There has been a success rate of about 0% for that, but if they want to be the one who bucks that trend, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking bets tonight. You tell us when the end of the world. I actually have my bet. That'll probably be. But we have bets for end of the world. If you think it's in the next, day, week, year, if you're about to put up a billboard and explain to everybody why they are heathens and should repent to Jesus within the next year before, Jesus beams us up,
And
come on and tell us.
You're not going to need that money, so you might as well give it to us so we can warn more people about the end, because next year you're not going to be here anyway. So give us your money and God will reward you for it in the next life.
That's right. Give it to all of those non-believers out there, because why would you need it? You're going up there. You got the big ticket. You'll be fine. But
that
also,
mortgage payment, don't worry, you'll be in heaven long before they foreclose on your house. Don't worry about anything like that. Kids' college fund, they're not going to go to college. They'll be in heaven. Don't worry about that shit. Stupid college, yeah.
It's that good old prosperity gospel. We're going to make sure somehow that those checks, it'll prosper in the person's bank account that you put it in, probably. That's probably how that's actually going to work. But hey... But also, thank you so much. You mean the world to us, Dave Gar. Woohoo! Thank you so much, Dave Gar. And my gosh, we gotta have the flat Earth debate. Nathan Thompson screaming, bro. They'll probably. He might not be the energy level, but Nathan, yourself, you can come on, bro. Google.
Look it up. Google it. Ground positioning service, GPS. It's not satellites.
Are you gonna trust the government? Did you get that data, or were you given that data by someone else?
Pictures of the Earth from the moon, CGI. Satellite pictures from Earth, CGI. They're composite images.
They never get those from CGI experts. It's never physicists or CGI experts. My goddess, they have no idea how hard it is to render composite images and how hard, frig fly into the moon. But they scoff at that. Oh, how hard is it? Look at visual effects in the 2000s, in the 90s. Oh yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
You want to look up try watching the original Terminator from 1984 and look at that. I mean, it was good, but it's painful to watch today how bad those graphics were back in '84. They got a lot better for Terminator 2, but the Terminator, and even by today's standards, not great. But
because
Terminator 1 was just ridiculous. Yeah.
But at the time, it was amazing because you didn't know any better. It was the best that the computers could render, and that stuff that looks like silly putty today probably took, a week to composite out.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah. The same thing as doing the Avengers now, but 10 years from now, we'll be making fun of that. But the actual footage of the actually lasts. But okay, moving along. But come on the channel. We love you, flurfers. Flurfs.
You love Nathan Thompson.
I love
anyway.
The slang. Yeah, I can't help it. Just like I love meme man Alex Jones because of just how silly they are. I disagree with everything that comes out of their mouth for the most part, but I think they're funny, and so I can't hate them either.
Who gets arrested for harassing kids at a school? I mean,
really? Did Nathan Thompson get? He's the guy who tried to get? He harassed for flirting, right? Which is for flat Earth.
Yeah, he stood over the playground and was telling the kids the Earth is flat, and the teachers were like, "What?" Teachers were like, who the hell is this strange guy? So they didn't know who he was, so they got the kids out, and then even the kids were telling him, "No, you're wrong."
It's not the round Earth kids. They got you believing.
The fourth graders are laughing at you. Flat earthers. The fourth graders.
I do believe. I mean, I'm not joking. You should be throughout middle school. By the time you're done middle school, you should have the education to prove that, You should just be able to shout time zones and a whole. But why do you wear satellites? Why? What is the reasoning for it? Go into my lovely round.
They don't want people to know about Jesus.
Not about Jesus. Funny enough, why I will bring this up. Why are these freaking skeptics and freaking atheists talking about the flurfers and all this? Causation is not correlation, but there's just such a heavy correlation with these like weird ass fundy fringy. I mean, who is fringe? Whatever.
Hyper fundamentalist Christian.
Yes.
Hyper literalist, very uber fundamentalist Christians and flat earthers.
I met someone in real life lately who believed in the flat earth. And, when pressed, it was because of religion. And the funny thing is, he even was like, oh, yeah, I'm totally going to talk about science with you because you're an atheist. I'm not going to talk about because I brought up the Christian passage, and he's like, no, you just don't understand it correctly. Take my word for it. That's why I talk science with the atheists. Oh no, it's biblically accurate. I'm like, okay. Let's look at the Lord of the Rings. Oh man, what is it?
At that point, you just have to scratch your head for them and say, guys. Kent Hovind doesn't agree. Kent Hovind has looked at your science and says it's crazy. Let that sink in. Ken Hovind thinks you're an idiot.
I really do want to have like a dual debate with Ken Hovind by my side. It's like those times in the Avengers movies where you got to pair up with one of the anti-villains.
Luke fighting side by side with Darth Vader,
Exactly. And all right, but also the lead hyena. Because I love hyenas in general. Carnivore, thank you so much, Scott Duke.
Thank you, Scott Duke.
Yes, I love cats, and hyenas are part of the cat line because they hide their fecal and all that stuff. Yes, bears are carnivore. Dogs, though I love dogs just because we have they're the only artificial species. Like creationists use them all the time. As like, look at this. Look at all these species. Look at all these species. That's not natural. Look at that shit. The giant dog and the small dog can mate with each other. Does that have like?
You're doing what in a human time scale? What would have taken evolution millions of years to do, or thousands at the very least, and you would just never get those pairings in the wild. You're selecting for traits that the environment would never select for because
you're treating them like fruit or vegetables. You are agriculturing them. I mean, it's both horrible and cool at the same time. But please understand it, creationists. That's not what happens in nature. That is not. We did that.
Even he says like you never have a chihuahua in the wild because they'd be dead in 5 minutes. They wouldn't be able to survive out there in the wild. And that's true. But
what would happen if we released every dog is natural selection would take over, and a few breeds in their habitats that maybe Chihuahua would find the one thing where it's good small, but
it would have to find a niche,
But you would find like 3 or 4 in their niches would survive, and it would be almost like a wolf dog, versus tiger versus hyena scenario again. You just get a bunch of carnivores again. Evolution, isn't it great? And
it works.
Convergent evolution really is that, because a lot of species tend to look alike. The reason why hyenas kind of look in between is they're cats with kind of dog-like features, and that's because of convergent evolution.
Or like mimicry. Some snakes, like non-venomous snakes, will look like venomous snakes because evolution found out, hey, if I look like I'm venomous, then maybe other animals will leave me alone because they don't know. They say, oh, I'm not going to mess with that guy because I want to get bit.
So a lot of bugs that are blue or purple or just luminescent that are trying to. Hi, puppy. I agree. It's an important point that we should get to more. But a lot of probably, but only like 75% of the buggies have to be poisonous. Not all of them do. Some of them just have to look poisonous, and that's enough not to get eaten because of mimicry. And last but not least, Regos.
Thank you.
A thespian skull reaching from the Bible.
Nobody out there, Ryder. Calm down.
Another point that I just have to make, our final point, another thing that offends me. We look so much like the other apes. It's just ridiculous. Like, I don't understand how they don't see it. Like, I feel like they need to go back to elementary school. Like, to not see the difference.
God made humans in his image, and just made things that look a lot like humans, but they're not quite. He just made things that look not in his image, but sort of in his image, like halfway in his image.
See, my point at that point would be to ask, why even? Why is God even doing this? It just seems like God is making shit for us. It also seems like he exists for us, but that's another story.
Like we created him.
And which is a surprising point to think. I also almost say, yes, it could be that we needed a God to exist, or it could be that God needed us to exist, and these concepts would not be around without agents.
It's exactly like we were talking yesterday. Like the Christians can say, "You guys don't know where the universe came from, but I do." And we could say, "Well, you don't know where your God came from, but we do."
Well, and they just assert it. If you ask any actual questions, they will say, that's not for us to know. How did God exist? I normally start with why did God exist, but they don't get to that. And why questions are almost unfair.
What is he made of? He's a spirit.
So I go to how. Like, how was he formed? How does he function? How does he create things? And those are generally out of the purview because they ain't in the Bible unless it's going to say spoke through word or made out of clay. Like,
yeah, but it still doesn't tell you how.
Doesn't tell me how. Exactly. And all right.
Do it.
With that, everybody.
Whip it out. Whip it out, baby. No, not that.
Not that. End of the world theology. There's even a fancy word for it. Eschatology. However, religion's obsession with apocalypse events have always, in my view, come off creepy. That's because of how happy. Some theists will tell you about the end times, which is paired with the notion that most believers think that they're going somewhere. Quote, unquote, better. So the palpitating excitement many give in their explanations is the real insight. After the end of the world comes, kinky, and everyone dies, they get a one-way ticket to the super special awesome place where they get to live forever and ever with the dad figure who definitely isn't in the clouds or has a beard. That would be ridiculous. We're talking about serious business, meta-human daddy or something. This is one of the more uglier sides of religion to me because it makes those who believe look forward not to preserving what's around us, but its destruction. Hollywood may make the apocalypse sexy. However, I rather like our species being alive. All good things must come to an end, including our planet. One day, when the sun red giants in 4.5 billion years. Until then, I'm less worried about Jesus coming, mostly because he hasn't asked for permission. That naughty yoga teacher. Instead, I'm worried about us as humans ruining the awesome things we got going on right now. That's something both atheists and theists can agree on. Thank you. All right. I'm about to hand it over to James. Woohoo!
But probably a bad idea, but do it anyway.
Do it to me, baby. But we're both going to be watching a video called The End of the World by YouTube channel Bible Talk. So, how are you tonight, James? And we're going to come to the end of the world, or at least that's the subject tonight. Woo-hoo. So, what are your thoughts?
Right. So, hey, guys. So, I was as a Christian for a long time, and this was something that when I was a Christian, I spent a lot of time looking into. So, it's something that I always found very interesting as a Christian. As a Christian, I just want to, as a former Christian, I want to give you guys a little bit of an overview so that when you're watching the video, you maybe have a little bit of a background for those who haven't really spent a lot of time doing research into this topic. And I always found it to be very interesting because Christians, they're always trying to find a way, take the Bible and take their religion, bring it out of the pages and put it in reality, because it's a dichotomy with what they see in the Bible. Very rarely actually subscribes to reality. They have to try to force that in any way they possibly can. And one way that they've done it for a long, long time is this eschatology, this end of the world theories that they develop. And the Bible's not silent about this. The Bible does make prophecies and predictions for what would happen after the time of Jesus. And I mean, quite frankly, it's all over the place. But starting off from that, you have two basic lines of thought that you see. You have your dispensationalists. These are people looking to the future from wherever you are, looking for events that are going to happen. And then you have your preterists. Now, your preterists are going to say that all the prophecies were fulfilled actually by the end of the first or second century. It was all done. Nothing's going to happen. We just go like this until God comes back. But yeah. And so for throughout history, you've had the preterists were actually kind of prevalent for a long time, but somewhere along the line, the dispensationalists really started picking up steam. And coming into the modern era, that's been where most of the action has been at, the dispensationalism. Actually, over the past, maybe since the 2000s, preterism is making a big comeback, because for decades before that, the dispensationalist Christians, they made lots of prophecies, lots of predictions, and none of it happened. None of it came true. So you got a lot of Christians, they're kind of looking around like, okay, none of this is happening. I've been told to expect this is going to happen. It's not happening. How do I make sense of it? So they go, oh, okay, well, no, it's not happening because it already happened. Don't worry about it. But from the basic perspective of a dispensationalist, you have at a certain point, because the devil hates God, he has to mimic everything God does. So God has a trinity, so the devil's going to make a trinity. It's going to be him. He's going to have a false Messiah. They call him the Antichrist. He's going to have a false prophet, kind of like the Holy Spirit. And Christians today, they believe, well, a good number of them believe that the Antichrist is an actual person today who is actually the son of Satan, son of the devil, in the flesh, enacting a plan. And this is why you see a lot of these Christians, they dabble in these conspiracy theories like the New World Order, things like that, one world government, Alex Jones type of stuff, because they think that the Bible is true, and these prophecies seem to indicate that the Antichrist will be running the show. He will be the king of the world, for instance. So you have to have a one world government, one world administration to do that. That's why they're kind of always paranoid and afraid of that. Never seems to happen, but they're always worried about that. And that when the Antichrist takes over, you have a 7-year period. Well, the first part of it, he might not be fully in control. He's setting up his tentacles around the world. Midway through, he takes over. He unmasks himself. He becomes an asshole because before that, he's a nice guy. He's a humanitarian. He's a good guy. Everybody loves him. We'll make him the king of the world, president of the world. Then he kills a bunch of people and who won't worship the devil. And after a certain point, when most of the people on Earth are dead, Jesus will come back in the clouds and they'll have a battle. Now, why you would need to have a battle against with a omnipotent God, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. What are you going to do? He's God. Well, how long would the battle last? But anyway, that's what they believe is going to happen. And you get into a doctrine called the doctrine of the rapture. And that is what happens to the Christians during this time period. What happens? What are they doing? Ryder, quiet. What are they doing while all this is going on? Well, there's a couple different theories about that. The pre-trib rapture, which is actually where most of the conservative Christians had been for a long time, is that before the Antichrist takes over, before the 7-year tribulation begins, they will be removed from the earth. Just poof, gone. They'll be called up into the clouds to meet God, and they'll go to heaven and prepare 7 years for battle while all hell is breaking loose down here. And because the Christians are gone, the Holy Spirit's no longer restraining things on earth, then the Antichrist can move forward, setting up his government. They'll form 10 kings, 10 kingdoms in the earth, because it's 10 horns, and then the little horn, the Antichrist, will rise up out of those and then take over. So you'll see in a lot of these circles, they'll be talking about the North American Union. Oh, European Union. Oh, that's part of the plan, European Union. Then there'll be an Asian Union, an African Union, and then from these super countries, the Antichrist will use that to consolidate his power because it'll already be partially consolidated for him already, and he'll just slide in and take over. And you got a false prophet, and he's going to be doing miracles. And at some point, the Antichrist will seem to be wounded. He will seem to die. He'll be shot, an assassination attempt of some kind, but he will be brought back to life. He will not die. He will be resurrected as the original Jesus was resurrected. And this false prophet will be going around preaching to him. At some point, he'll make an image of him that people will be required by law to worship, or they will be executed. And if you remember, I do remember being back when I was a Christian, reading into this stuff and all these kind of conspiracy theories they have for this. They're talking about, you'll see a lot of they look for things in the government right now. Like they'll look at the FEMA is like the big mean agency that they don't like, because they think FEMA is planning out a way to kill millions of Americans who decline to worship the devil. And like they do have contingencies in place for mass pandemics. I mean, we saw what happened in this pandemic, where the fatality rate was less than 1%. Imagine a pandemic in the future with a fatality rate of like 5%, which, would be just absolutely devastating. So they do have contingency plans for what would happen if you had something like that happen, to be able to safely store and process the millions of pounds of dead human bodies that would overwhelm the morgues. They look at it as a sinister thing, like, oh, they're planning on killing a bunch of people. But moving forward from there, there is another group of people who believe that the Christians are going to be here in the initial stages of the tribulation and through the first half of it. And the last half, when everything really gets bad, the time they call that, they'll be pulled out before that, but they'll be here initially. And then there's the group who believes that it'll actually be at the very end. So the Christians will be here through the entire tribulation, and they'll have to go through all that. And they will, at the end, right before God comes back, whichever ones of them aren't dead yet, most of them probably would be at that time, they'll go be called up to meet with God. before they have the battle. And actually, Ken Hovind, he was a pre-tribber for so long. Now, just recently, since he got out of prison, he's become a post-tribber. And what that is it's kind of sneaky because it does a few things for him. Is if you are a pre-tribulation rapture, you know for a fact at any time it hasn't happened. You haven't done anything. The clock hasn't even started yet. If you're not a pre-tribulation rapture, you could always be in the initial stages of the tribulation because you wouldn't really know it, because not a bunch of bad stuff won't happen until that midpoint. So the first few years of it, we could be in it now, and we might not know anything because it really hasn't got bad yet. But it allows him to then hedge his bets, and it gives him more time to sell material. So if the Christians are going to be involved in it, well, then you are going to have to go through this. So you need to buy my materials. You need to see what's going to happen, and I'll tell you about it, and I'll tell you how to, prepare your family for it, tell you what to do during the tribulation so you won't die. And also, I might be one of the two prophets that are mentioned in Revelation, which talks about there being two prophets who are going to be from God, who the Antichrist is not going to be able to kill. So there will be some message of Jesus on the planet through those, and maybe he'll have a compound in Alabama where people can go and give him money, and he can preach to them, and they'll be safe there. It sounds pretty crazy, but it's not too far off. And so then the either way, you get to the Battle of Armageddon, surprise, God wins. Okay, who didn't see that coming? God wins. He takes the devil, the false prophet, the Antichrist, he throws him in the bottomless pit. And then he sets up a kingdom on earth called the millennial reign, the millennial kingdom. It's 1,000 years kingdom where God himself is on the earth, ruling the earth as king for 1,000-year period. And the Christians, that what they're doing is they're actually like vying for positions in this government at the time, because that's what they think. If they're a good Christian, and then they'll be rewarded. So Ken Hovind might be like the duke of his area during the millennial kingdom. So he might have a position of authority under that kingdom. Why God would need ministers to do things for him, because he's everywhere all the time anyway, it doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to make sense. It's just what they believe. And then after that 1,000-year period, because we need to go and rehash this out again, the devil will be let out of the bottomless pit, and he'll have one more chance to come and tempt people to sin. And then there will be another conflict, and after that 1,000-year period, God will take them and finally just throw them into hell. He'll be done with it, and then everybody can go to heaven and begin their eternity of doing nothing all day, every day, but telling God how great he is, because that's what he wants you to do, because that's the meaning of life. That's the real purpose of life, is to go to heaven and tell God how great he is. So you can sit there all day, just like the Bible says, and praise him forever. Say, God, you're so great. God, I love you. You're the best God ever. I really love you. Yeah, you did such a good job. Heaven is so nice, God. Doesn't that sound amazing? And it is. And you can do that forever. And you won't be tempted to do anything else, because he'll take that will out of you. You won't have any thoughts to do anything else. You'll be sitting there like a vegetable, telling God how great he is, but you will be having the time of your life. There's nothing you'd rather be doing but sitting there and praising God forever. Just like the seraphim and the cherubim, who are angels that God created in heaven, and all they do is float above God and say, holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole world is full of his glory. And that's all they do. I mean, it must get tired after an eternity of doing it, but apparently that's all they ever think about doing, so they're okay with it. And so there's a lot. We're not going to even be able to unpack even close to all that there is in this topic, because there's just so much here under the surface, and a lot of it's really crazy. And actually, this is like one of the things that really stuck out to me when I was a Christian, is because you're looking at these things and you've been told these things are going to happen. Nothing's not happening, but nothing is even moving an inch in that direction. Like one of the ways that they're told that the Antichrist will enforce this order to worship the devil is everyone will be marked. You'll have to have a mark on you to be able to buy or sell anything. So you won't be able to participate in the economy at all unless you've worshiped the devil. And then if you do that, you'll be permanently barred from heaven. No exceptions is the mainstream theology. So you'll either be killed or you worship the devil. And if you do worship the devil, you automatically go to hell. There's no redeeming you. You're screwed forever. Anyhow, but yeah, so if you look around, they're always looking for like the mark of the beast. How is the devil going to do this? It's going to be a microchip, a barcode that's on your hand or your forehead, because the writer wasn't really sure which one it would be. So maybe your hand, maybe your forehead. I don't know. Maybe maybe Amy can tell us about that. But anyway, so they're looking for things like that. They're very worried about technology moving in that direction. They're also very concerned with, who is this Antichrist? Who is he? Where is he? Because the Bible just gives some very vague details about him. So you can look through Christian channels and you can do searches, and you will see people trying to make it sound like Prince Charles, Prince William, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, basically anybody who's anybody in political power all over the world, Vladimir Putin, Bashar al-Assad, the prime ministers of Israel. They're all potential candidates for this Antichrist role. And, time just keeps going on and nothing ever happens in that in that world. The world is not moving towards what they're saying it is. And if the devil wanted to stage a massive worldwide takeover, he's had plenty of opportunities to do it in the past 120 years. I mean, you had World War II, World War One, where there was complete upheaval in the whole world. You had the Cold War, where the United States and the Soviet Union spent 40 years with nuclear missiles pointed at each other 24/7, 365. We could have immediately destabilized the entire world if someone wanted to come and take over. That'd be a great opportunity to, trick one side into nuking the other. And then he's the devil. He's magic. He can do whatever he wants, right? But apparently not. Apparently he hasn't been able to do anything yet. You had 9/11 happen, and look at the wars and everything that happened after that. And then even more so, you had the financial collapse in 2008, where the world economy was nearly brought down. It could have been a lot worse than it was. It would have been actually a good chance for somebody with a plan to move in and consolidate power, but it just never happened. And being a Christian, we were always taught that, well, the Bible is right. The Bible is true because Israel is the only country to disappear off the map, and then magically there it is, centuries later, after it disappeared. Look, the UN made Israel back in 1949. That's where it is. The Bible's true. The Bible's right. And so we've heard from them for decades now that actually, even though nobody over there is talking about it, nobody wants to do it, it's got no plans for it, the temple is going to be rebuilt. Did you know that, Amy? The temple is going to be rebuilt on the Temple Mount.
Wow.
Because the Antichrist, when he takes power, he has to stop the sacrifices. That's what the Bible says. He will stop the daily sacrifices. And if you notice, they're not doing sacrifices every day over there. Why not? Well, they don't have a temple. So if they do build the temple, then they would have to start making those sacrifices, which is why they'll never rebuild it, because why would you want to go through all that trouble of building a temple just so you have to kill animals every day when you could just not build it and you don't have to worry about all that? Which is why you'll never hear, very rarely will you hear a Jewish person talking about rebuilding the temple. It's always the Christians pushing it because they would like the end of the world to come, because they're done with this world. It's not what they thought they were getting themselves into. They just want to move on. They want to be raptured out of here and be with Jesus. So it would be nice if you guys please would build the temple so the Antichrist can come and the apocalypse can happen. Millions of people can die. So we're just done with this. I did not plan on being here this long. I didn't plan for retirement because I didn't think I was ever going to be retired. So we need to get the ball on the roll, on the ball with this thing. And it's just never happening. There's zero interest in rebuilding that temple over there, except for a few fundamentalist Christians and maybe a couple uber Orthodox Jews, but it's just not happening. And yeah, I think, well, we could start the video there, but I mean, there's just so much to unpack here, and there's so many crazy things, so many conspiracy theories. and it just goes nowhere. It really does. You can follow all these. It just goes nowhere. Uh, it's like it's a bridge to nowhere, a road to nowhere. Nothing ever happens, and that's one of the things that keys you in on. Uh, this isn't true. It's just a book of stories. The book of Revelation was obviously written by somebody who had a very vivid imagination. Maybe he took some very potent drugs, whatever. But it's nothing that we need to be basing foreign policy on. It's nothing you need to consider in basing your life decisions on. Uh, it's not going to happen, folks. And actually, that does affect politics today because there are people who, I mean, they don't come out openly and say this, but why would I want to hurt the economy to slow down global warming when Jesus will be back in 10, 15 years? We're not going to have to worry about that. Sea level rise, not going to happen. Jesus won't let that happen. He'll be back way before then. So why would we want to take steps now that are painful to avoid that happening? It only makes sense if you're uber fundamentalist, dispensationalist Christian. Any questions from you, Amy? Any comments? Any thing that stuck out to you?
Well, I just wanted to ask if your views have changed from a vibe of like they seem so excited. Does it come off creepy to you now? Do you notice how, like, because I've seen documentaries where like people be jumping up and down explaining the end of the world, and to me that is surreal, but that has to come from somewhere, right? That comes from the golden ticket and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, it's a complicated web, and I mean, if you've never been in it, yeah, it will look very strange to you if you have been in it. And I mean, I would say, like, when you're presented with these ideas, I mean, you're presented to them. It is what it is. It's not like it's what you want it to be, but it kind of just is what it is. It's going to happen. So you better construct your worldview around that. You know, it might not necessarily be that you want millions of people to be killed for not worshiping the devil, but it's what God has ordained to happen. It's going to happen. It's prophecy. So, I mean, and then I do think that there's a lot of like the Christian persecution complex where a lot of them really do feel like they're being persecuted, like the world is just out to get them, and you know, you can't say Merry Christmas anymore, and you got gay people getting married, it's against the Bible, and it's just a lot of things that you know are happening in the world that they just bother them at their core. So in a way, a lot of they are ready for it to happen. They are just ready to have God wipe the slate clean and start over, and hopefully there'll be something big in the kingdom if they've been a good little boy or girl for Jesus.
For Jesus.
For Jesus. It's funny because in your debate with Nephilim Free, he kind of disavowed a lot of this because when you asked him about his views on the end times, which as from an anti-religion or anti-theist perspective makes sense, because if you're basing your decisions on policy, on your worldview, even on your personal decisions based on the idea that in a few years from now Jesus is going to come back and nothing's going to matter anymore, is that really how we want to be making decisions about the world, or even about your finances, your education, things like that? You know, can be destructive.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the more horrible points about religion. You know, the theist could bring up lots of points that, you know, they could try and point to, like community and stuff like that. I think this is one of my more anti-theist points in my position because it just seems so toxic.
And so, like the Catholics, who have always been kind of more of a intellectual, more of like they sit on like a higher intellectual perch, and originally, like, they didn't really want the Bible to be distributed in the vernacular, in the language of the people, because they saw like there's a lot of things in there that sound pretty crazy that we can't make sense of. So if we just put this out there, everyone's going to have their own opinion about it. And, of course, the people, they say that was evil. The Catholic just put the Bible out, let people read it. And because of that, we have thousands of denominations. You can barely find one Christian who agrees with each other about anything. They all read the same book, but they don't agree with each other about anything. But even they almost don't touch this thing at all because they say we don't know enough about it. We're just going to keep on doing our thing, and whatever happens, but we can't. They don't make predictions. They don't do anything like that. Now, of course, the traditional Catholics will say on their end that, okay, this is happening because the Pope is the current Pope is an anti-Pope. He's an antichrist because the devil had to take over God's true church, the Catholic Church, and they don't think the temple is going to be rebuilt because they view their Mass, the Catholic Mass, as a reenactment of the sacrifice. So they think the sacrifice in the Bible that is being stopped was the Vatican II Council, which changed the Mass and made it so that the Mass wasn't valid anymore. So therefore, the Antichrist did stop the daily sacrifice from their perspective. Yeah.
It's all making sense.
Praise the Antichrist. Praise the devil. Worship his image.
Praise the devil. And all right. So thank you, James. And with that, we're going to hear from the other side, or rather a video from the YouTube channel Bible Talk. During the video, we'll be saying hi to everyone. But if you want your comment put or read on screen, feel free to tag me. Oh, you're tagging me.
Feel free to write it on a $100 bill and then
baby,
mail it to her. There you go.
And at the end of the video, we'll be switching into our open mic so you can tell us about the wisdom that you just experienced. And with that, are you ready for the end of the world, James?
I don't know, Amy. Are you ready to be executed for refusing to worship the devil and take his mark? Are you ready?
Wow, that sounds like so much fun.
There'll be a day, Amy. There will be a day where there's a guillotine right in front of you, and there's going to be an image of the devil, and they're going to tell you going to take the mark, Amy, or are we laying your head down on the guillotine? And you're going to have to make that decision. It's going to affect your eternity. Are you going to put the devil's thing in your mouth and jiggle it around, or are you going to lose your head? Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of lost it put it in my mouth and jiggle it around. But yes, I feel like someone's going to lose their head. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. And all right, everyone, we are going to listen to a talk from the other side. I'm going to start playing comments and saying hi to everybody. And then you're going to have your chance to share the wisdom that you just experienced. And with that, Bible Talk presents The End of the World.
Hello, I'm Michael Mazzalonga with another edition of Bible Talk. Today, we're going to talk about the end of the world. When I talk about the end of the world, people are usually frightened. For example, back in the 30s, an actor named Orson Welles created a radio drama entitled The War
Amy's
of the
getting hot. She's not excited.
I'm sorry. I want to try not to pause it. I really do. But it's just such an opener. Some people are scared at the end of the world. I'm here to tell you, it's a great time.
Pop the champagne, Amy. Got the champagne on ice.
I know, baby. It's time to end the world. All right.
And in this radio, he pretended that the Earth was being attacked by outer beings from outer space. Now, when people heard this program, they actually believed that these things were taking place. And some people died from heart attacks because they were afraid that it was the time of the end of the world. I don't blame them, because whenever you watch TV or read a magazine or a book about this subject, it seems that people are always describing the end of the world in terms of the bizarre or science fiction or wars. Well, I'm no prophet, and I don't know when the end of the world is going to be, but I do know that the Bible does teach some very specific and easily understood things about the end of the world. And I'd like to share those things with you
They're
today.
all wrong, but okay.
It's your Bibles, a pencil, a piece of paper.
Get your Bible, Amy.
Study class today as we explore the doctrines concerning the end of the world.
Is there going to be a test?
We'll be right back after this.
Get your pencil,
welcome to another Bible
paper.
Class today on Bible.
That's not your pencil, Amy. Put that away. That's not a pencil. Yeah, that's a pencil.
World. You ever wonder why there's so many different teachings about the end of the world? You talk to one guy, he says, well, the end of the world is going to be this way, and you talk to someone else, and
they're all bullshit
in another way. Well, the Bible, of course, teaches only one thing, but there are a lot of people who have a lot of different ideas about the end of the world. Before I start to talk, I need to explain two very important historical events. If we don't understand two key historical events, we really cannot understand what the Bible teaches about the end of the world.
Let's see how well it aged.
You know, I like to give you a little bit of background to our Bible study. The first key event that we need to understand,
not as good as our Bible study,
we need to understand, is the destruction of Jerusalem, which occurred in the year 70 AD. Now, in the first period of its growth, the greatest challenge to the Christian faith or the Christian church was the Jewish leadership. In other words, the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem were bent on destroying the Christian faith. You see, when Christianity started, most people thought that it was just another branch of the Jewish religion.
Well,
and it was
wasn't it? Kind of
another sect of the Jewish religion. And with time, however, it was demonstrated that Christianity wasn't just another branch of the Jewish religion, but it really was a religion separate and apart from Judaism. And so the Jewish leaders were intent on destroying this new faith. Does anyone remember the name of the person who was the great leader among the Jews who was trying to persecute the Christian church in the first century? Saul, right. Saul, right. Damn. And he changed his name to Paul, or the Lord changed his name to Paul, and eventually he became one of the greatest missionaries in the first century. Okay, now, aside from the physical persecution, and we could talk a long time about the physical persecution, there was also a kind of an ideological persecution. Because here you had two religions, okay, who were kind of fighting ideologically one another. You had, for example, the Jewish religion, Judaism, and Judaism claimed
to be the
spokesman for God. In other words,
they all do,
and their center in Jerusalem.
In fact, that's the point.
And their sacrificial.
They were for a while. I mean, till Jesus came along, they were the only spokesman for God.
Well, okay. In other words, the Jewish people.
I hope you win, Titan.
Throughout the Old Testament, they claimed to be the chosen people of God, and they were the chosen people of God. Their temple was magnificent, their priesthood was splendid.
And it ended happily ever after.
To speak for God. They were God's people, their temple was God's temple, and when you came to Jerusalem, I mean, when you wanted to worship, you went to Jerusalem. On the other hand, Christianity and Christians, the disciples of Jesus, they claimed that the Messiah was Jesus. And all the promises that were made to the Jews had been fulfilled by Jesus Christ. And now
the Jews disagree,
but the religious authority was in Jesus Christ. You know, Jesus said himself in Matthew chapter 28, verse 18, all authority in heaven and on earth belong to who? Belong to me. And so Christianity, on the other hand, was saying, no.
Amy, tell everybody all the authority in the world belongs to you.
And all worship should be offered to him. So there was a great battle going on.
There you go. She just said it, folks. She said it.
Okay.
Must be true.
In 70 AD, a dramatic event occurred, very dramatic, that changed the course of religious history. In that time, the Roman Empire was the Romans ruled the world, and Jerusalem was merely a place that was under their,
did they?
Domain.
That's such a Western. I love
the
Western
part of the
society,
world,
and Rome owned a lot. But I just love how they just gloss. It's like, what about the other parts of the world? Yeah,
what about
but did
Asia,
they count?
China,
Yes?
Japan, North South America, England,
the South of Africa,
Ireland, the southern part of Africa? Yeah,
other
they controlled probably 95% of the world's population were under Roman control, but
I love Roman and Greek history, but just statements like that just paint with such a broad brush, they just stick out.
It's a lack of context.
It's like, okay.
Stick out.
People were always in rebellion. They were tired of being under Rome. They wanted to be free, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they were a thorn in the side of Rome.
Government got
basically for no reason.
Yeah, they sent an army in 70 AD, and in that year they destroyed the city of Jerusalem. They also destroyed the temple.
Pause it for just a second, Amy. I just want to comment on this for what he's saying is. So for people who don't understand, Rome was basically a trade empire. They didn't want to come into all these little countries and micromanage all their affairs and everything. They wanted to make sure that the markets were open for commerce, that things were safe, and they could conduct business there. That was mostly what they cared about. They didn't want to take away your king. As long as your king recognized that the emperor and the Senate were, in charge, as long as he didn't go against anything they said, they didn't care. And most of the provinces, this was not a problem. They didn't care. Hey, the Romans are coming in. It's good for the economy, the resources, and whatnot. It was just this one little province in Judea that kept giving the Romans problems. And after a while, after kowtowing to that province for a long time, they did get kind of pissed off, and they did do some really mean bad things. But there was a history there that he's really not going over of rebellion and insurrection, and it's how things in the world worked back then. It's not funny. It's not polite. It's not good natured, but it's history.
And unchangeable, because they won't let us edit these. I was going to say history books, but these holy books that, because Moses and Noah and all these things, still waiting for proof of these people to ever existed. But moving forward, if you just joined us, we are Skeptic and Ranting. We're talking about the end of the world theology, having a good time.
Not in the Bible, but in historical accounts, Josephus, for example, he's a Jewish historian. He writes about the destruction of Jerusalem. It was a terrible event. The Romans laid siege to the city, and they just voted them out and they starved them out. And when they went in, they killed over 200,000 people during that.
I don't know if that total is accurate.
They tore down the walls of the city. Only one wall is left, or one wall was left standing. That is the Western Wall, and it's still standing today. Not only did they destroy the city, but they also destroyed the temple. Brick by brick, they took it down, they destroyed it, they took the people out of the city, they slaughtered them, they put them. It was a terrible, terrible massacre. A few years later, other Roman leaders went into Jerusalem and they set up idols inside the temple. Where the holiest place was in the temple, they set up pagan idols and offered animal sacrifices to pagan gods.
Kinky. Also, this just seems like common history, like a common cycle. Yeah, one place comes in, they take out their religious things, they put their religious things.
And it's all because they couldn't get on the ball. They kept having to rebel and, be a thorn in the side of the Romans. You poke the bear enough times, eventually the bear's going to come for you. And, well, they thought that, oh, hey, we've got God on our side, so we can poke the bear all we want. The bear will never come and get us. Well, the bear did come, and that's what he said. The bear did come, Amy. You didn't get that one.
Ooh, the bear was coming? Kinky.
Yeah, you didn't get that one.
I'm sorry. Sometimes the cum goes over my head. But
well, usually it's right on the money, but once in a while.
Once in a while. But yeah, we're just having a good time. We're going back to the 80s. with this end of the world. Though, really, going back to the 80s isn't a long time. If we're talking about a book that's 2,000, 3,000 years old, they love to talk about how old it is. Same apologetics, doesn't change.
Yeah, he's going to start talking about rebuilding the temple, that they're going to start doing it any day now. Any day now they'll start construction on it. Any day now they'll start on it. You'll see. You won't hear anything about that. One day, boom, they'll just be doing construction. Yep.
And then it'll all come back. Once again, that's what she said.
Doing this, they desecrated that place for all time. So with this total destruction, we have the end of Jerusalem as a religious center of authority for the Jewish people during that time, especially during the 1st and 2nd century. And after that, we see Christianity going forward unhindered. Not that I want to get something straight here. It isn't the Christians who brought on the war or brought on the massacre. As a matter of fact, they escaped the city and escaped that destruction. It just means that later on, Christianity was able to evolve and develop without hindrance from the Jewish leadership in Jerusalem. Okay, you got that? Everybody understand?
Oh, because they were dead,
now,
right. Okay.
There's a second great event that we need to understand that happened.
Yeah, because of Constantine and all the conversion and all that kind of rolling.
Well, there were periods where the Christians were persecuted under various emperors, and it would vacillate back and forth, where one emperor was okay, one emperor didn't like him, and one emperor was kind of didn't really care about him. But yeah, Constantine, he decided to make Christianity the official religion, and that's where it all got started. That's why Christianity is so widespread today. They don't want to admit that, but that is a huge part of it, because Rome was the largest power at the time and became that official religion. So there you go.
It's also a tails I win, heads you lose, because if they're small and they're persecuted, well, that's proof that God is actually on our side. If they're large and they grow, well, that's proof that God is on our side. It's
funny, you'll hear a lot of Christians today, like they'll say that, oh, if we could only go back to when we were persecuted, that's when we were real Christians. Like, it's only because we're not persecuted now we've made concessions. We're not executing gay people. We're allowing divorce. We're not doing all these things that, because we've become secularized.
You damn secular. Though whenever there's something good about secular society, they generally go, oh, you borrowed that from the Christians.
They take credit from it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What we got, learning how to barter and not stab each other in the eye from Jeebus. They were stabbing everyone in the eye before then, and then they're like, Jeebus. Ooh.
Yeah, like Jesus said, pay your taxes, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Don't let Ken Hovind hear that one. He will go into convulsions.
Look, I'm a taxivist.
I pay all my taxes, every tax I
pay
owe.
Every tax, and I am completely secure in my taxes. And okay.
15-foot whales.
15-foot whales. Woohoo! Saying hi to everybody in there. Say big screen bird.
Bird.
Woo-hoo.
Bird is the word.
Bird is the word. And all right,
let's go back
having
to
fun.
Whatever his name is.
Later on, a couple of centuries later. And that was the destruction or the fall of the Roman Empire. Remember I said the Roman Empire ruled during that time? I mean, they ruled. We're not talking about benevolent.
They ruled, man.
They ruled with an iron fist. You did what they said or you were gone. That was it. They ruled. And
it ruled.
As Christianity is concerned, the Christian church was tolerated in the 1st century by the Roman government, so long as they didn't cause any problems, so long as they were considered part of the Jewish religion, there was no problem. But as soon as Christianity started evolving away, as soon as it began to establish itself as a separate and distinct religion, then the Roman government did not want to tolerate it, and it began to persecute it. And so in the year 68 AD, Nero, the emperor, began officially persecuting Christians and the Christian church. And this persecution went on for, several centuries, off and on, until the 4th century. Now, by the 4th century, what happened was that the Roman Empire began to crumble from within, and eventually it fell. and a new empire was established. Well, the interesting thing is that during 4 centuries, the Roman Empire persecuted.
Also, I want to just bring this up. I think it's pride still. So much of the time, it's always like, well, Rome accepted homosexuals and LGBT and all this other stuff, and then they fell. It's like, no, Rome was a society that we use as an ancient culture, actually having a sophisticated civilization, and it just so happens that one of the most sophisticated civilizations happened to be more open-minded towards LGBT individuals. The correlation to me is not with the whole fall, which seems to happen post-Christianity, wink, wink, wink. It actually seems to be with open-minded, tolerant societies and LGBT.
I mean, we have all these other examples of empires that have lasted from that day until today. I mean, it's just funny, this one Roman Empire. All the others have stayed the same, right? I mean, it couldn't be like a normal cycle of history that empires rise and fall, right? That
couldn't be. Civilizations rise and fall. That's a silly concept, James. No one's going to jump on board.
And did you know that the Romans, they ate food? Did you know that?
And drank water?
They did drink water, yeah. Yeah, they did both.
Well, there we go. Now we know where.
Yeah. Sometimes they even fermented that into alcoholic beverage. They drank that too, wine or beer. They did. Yeah, they did.
Well, then there we go. Obviously, food and drink, including alcohol, is why Rome fell. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. We found it on this podcast.
They wore clothes. Yeah, they wore clothes too. Go figure.
Amazing. See, all these things were correlating.
Christianity. But after 4 centuries, Christianity became the official religion of the new empire. And those are things, that are important.
The way he said that,
now I'm almost out of breath telling you all these facts here. And, Denny back there is telling me 5 minutes where we've got this class.
Christianity took over the Sith.
Almost the history of the first 4 centuries in 6 minutes. So if you ask me why I'm out of breath, now you know. Now,
that was a very cursory history, but
all of this. So what? The Roman Empire falls. So what? 70 AD, Jerusalem falls. Well, this is the point, and I'm going to get to it right now.
Get to the point.
In Matthew chapter 24, and if you've got your Bibles, I want you to open to Matthew chapter 24, okay? And at home, our friends at home who are listening, and by now you've probably got the hang of this. We do Bible study, so we ask you to get your Bibles out.
We do them too, Amy.
We
open
do
to Matthew
too.
chapter 24. We're going to read just a few lines of scripture here in a moment. Now, in Matthew chapter 24, and in Mark chapter 13, and in Luke chapter 21, in these 3 places in the gospel, Jesus gives a long speech about the end of the world, or it seems the end of the world.
How long,
He talks about when he is going to return. And I'm going to read just a few verses. I think I chose verse 6 and 7.
15-foot.
This is the speech where Jesus is saying to his apostles, "And you will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars, and see that you are not frightened, for those things must take place. But that is not yet the end. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
Very descriptive.
In various places there will be famines and earthquakes."
Non-vague
and on, telling us about the terrible things that are going to happen.
The classic example of a vague prophecy.
In the book of Revelation, at the end of the Bible, that book that talks about, the whore and
famines,
the monsters and the seals open and all the terrible things.
Remember, go whoring around, Amy.
On the earth at the end of the world. John is writing in the book of Revelation.
He's totally not tripping.
Matthew and Luke and Mark, and they look at Revelation and they figure, hey, these 2 people, Jesus and John, are talking about the end of the world. And they try to interpret these writings in 3 different ways.
Talking about
I'm going to
strategy
tell you the
for playing poker.
Most popular interpretations of what Jesus and what John are writing about. First of all, there are some people who think that when Jesus is saying, and you'll be hearing of wars and rumors of wars and so on and so forth, and when John is talking about the terrible catastrophe
Can I ask, has there been a time since the Bible has been written that there wasn't wars going on?
Or rumors of war? Not even wars, just rumors of war.
This is just humaning all over the place. They're just humaning all over. I don't get it.
Famines, nation rise against nation.
Oh, no.
The sun will rise in the east and in the west. Babies will be born, people will die.
Wow. And it's almost like I ordered a steak and a steak came out, or a medium steak and a medium steak came out. Such prophecy. Amazing.
You just say something that is always there. We could say, hey, it's always happening.
Yes. That's an even closer analogy, which would be if you just say something long enough, it will happen. I was going to go super horrible in America, a school shooting. Some horrible event, it will happen.
The Yellowstone volcano will erupt one day. It will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen.
The end of the world will happen one day. As much as we're making fun of it, I gave a time frame, 4.5 billion years.
Unless we're not by an asteroid before then, but yeah.
Exactly. Well, and we could escape it. Who knows? Life could escape it, but that's the end of this planet. There could be something before then that sets it off, but that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. And it's a lot of time for, let's just, snake oil salesmen to
sell stuff.
Sell stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we'll figure out, we'll be able to quantum tunnel into a new universe by then. Make our own.
Exactly. Well, I like to think Half-Life 3 will be out by then. So we all have our wish list.
Some people
now will get that new costume in.
That Jesus and John are talking about the
having
end
a threesome.
Of the world. When
okay.
the end of the world is going to be. And a lot of them spend their time trying to match modern day events to biblical ideas. So they
use my hands
and they say, oh, there's a war starting over here, and this government fell over here, so this must mean that Jesus is going to be coming back in 6 months, or on the 12th of August, 1994. Jesus is going to, they try to predict the end. No, but wait a second now. They try to predict the end because they think that that's what Jesus was saying here. Now, other people, they look at this scripture and they say, what's happening here is that Jesus was talking to the apostles and the disciples about the destruction of Jerusalem. You see now?
The preterist, yeah.
They think Jesus is talking about the destruction of Jerusalem, and they think John is talking about the end of the Roman Empire. So for some people, everything that Jesus and John is talking about has already happened. And then there's a third group of people who think that Jesus and John are talking about a cycle of events that will take place throughout history, beginning with the destruction of Jerusalem and the end of the Roman Empire, and repeating itself throughout history until one day Jesus is going to come and it's all going to end. Those are the three famous interpretations. Okay, now, when we come back,
the third one I've never heard anybody talk much about.
Are very clear that give us some indication as to what is really going to happen at the end of the world and help us to understand clearly how we can be ready. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is where Bob Larson puts a pitch in for his material.
Okay, let's get back to work here. We've got a lot of material
for a commercial
on this lesson about the end of the world. I ask you to open your Bibles to 2 Peter, please, chapter 3, verse...
Your 2 Peter, Amy.
1. 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 1 to 10. Actually,
got my reading glasses on.
Now, I've been telling you about the end of the world. I've been telling you that different people have different ideas about the end of the world. And a lot of people kind of give up. They say, oh, this is too hard. I give up. You can't understand anything. So they never read that.
Maybe it's all bullshit, right?
They try to ignore that part. Well, I'm not saying that there are things in the Bible that are all easy to understand. There are some parts that are very clear and easy to understand. Others are a little more difficult.
Easy to understand.
A little more time, a little more study. We're now going to look at 2 scriptures that are very clear about the end of the world.
Very clear.
So at least we can go into this class feeling a little more secure about our knowledge concerning the end times. Okay, so 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 to 10. Let's read verses 1 to 4 together. Peter says, "This is now, beloved, the second letter I am writing to you, in which I am stirring up your sincere mind by way of reminder, that you should remember the words spoken beforehand by the holy prophets and the commandment of the Lord and Savior spoken.
Okay, so what's going on here? This is now, beloved, the second letter. I'm writing to you. Dear Jesus, I'm writing to you. I've been thinking about you every day since you last picked me as an apostle. I know 12 of you follow you around, but I feel like I'm your number one.
Peter was his number one, yeah. Peter was.
That's right, baby.
At least the Catholics think so.
Spoken by your apostles. Know this, first of all, that in the last days mockers will come with their mocking, following after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming?
That
For
is
ever since the
ridiculous.
fathers fell asleep,
Ridiculous.
it continues just as it was from the beginning of creation.
But I will say,
that's a Ken Hovind verse right there that he always like. The scoffers will come.
Scoffers will come. They'll make fun of the Bible now, but you won't be laughing when you're down there. Then you'll know with my DVD.
Stephen Hawking, he knows. He wishes he would have bought my DVD, but you don't have to wish. You can do it. You can actually just buy my DVD.
Buy my DVD. But what happened? I mean, COVID, that was the perfect chance. Could have wiped us all out, but here we are. Stronger than ever, baby.
They've had there's been numerous chances that if there was like a real conspiracy to take over, they could have done it by now. I mean, come on, they're reptilian lizards from the devil.
That's true. Where I also don't understand. Another quote I've been thinking about recently is the one where it's like Satan's greatest trick is that he makes you think that he's not real.
Yeah.
But that also seems to be God's greatest trick. Isn't that like the catch-22? Is that it's not just Satan that's hiding, it is also God. So is it also God's greatest trick that he...
I mean, I don't want to totally derail us right now, but like if you talk to a lot of these people, like with what's going on right now, we just had the Pentagon report about the UFOs coming out, and they try to integrate that into their eschatology, and that the UFO, the alien, the beings up there, they are demons, fallen angels. Maybe there are lots of different classes of beings mentioned in the Old Testament. The Watchers, who are the Watchers? We don't know. It doesn't really tell us much about them, but there's a class of Watchers that mated with human women, and so these.
I honestly think that if aliens came down here, the notion of Jesus would be quite. I don't want to say funny because I feel like there'd be another alien friend to the side that'd be like, "Don't make fun of them. They're still." They have a few thousand years to go. Don't make fun of them. Remember when our species believed in that?
If we are being watched by them, I'm sure that would be a key factor why they would not want to make their presence known, because they would know that a good chunk of us would regard them as demons or, bad spirits of some kind, and it would cause basically an apocalypse, a turmoil. I mean, what happened when COVID came out? You couldn't buy toilet paper on the shelf for almost 4 months. You couldn't find one roll of toilet paper anywhere. Imagine if something like that happened and the Christianity basically crumbled overnight.
Well, there'd be two things. There'd be one or two things that would happen. They would either try and convert them, and they would be like, all right, we're going to get us some alien Christians. Or option 2, always a good option throughout history. Stabby, stabby, stabby.
Mary Baxter, who is one of these people that God brought to hell to take a tour of the place and then come back and let us know and write books and sell books that tell you about her trip there. She said that the UFOs go to hell and that they let the souls out of the people. Like they fly in and the bottom opens up and just a bunch of souls fall out and then they fly back out. So I guess that's what they're doing, is they're working for the devil. They're delivering souls to damnation.
Well, speaking of that, we also work for the devil. And if you'd like to buy a timeshare in hell next to the Lake of the Damned, feel free to ask us. Lovely, lovely property.
Close to the Hoven Reserve.
Close to the Hoven Reserve, exactly. And all right, well, let's let him get his passages. We're more than halfway through the video, and then we're going to be opening up the floodgates once again so you could tell us all of the wisdom that you have been absorbing, and if you're truly terrified for the end of the world.
Amy's a
Peter here
committed scoffer.
Don't be discouraged, you guys. This talking about the end of the world, this teaching about the end of the world, people will come to you and they'll laugh.
Kinky.
At you. They'll say, "What's the matter? You guys are a bunch of dummies. I mean, you know, you're talking about the end of the world. Jesus is going to come. Look around. Everything continues. Everything is normal. Nothing has happened for
Nothing's happening. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
For the end of the world.
Yeah.
Well,
little
Peter is saying, expect that. People are going to say that.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised.
They would also say it if it wasn't true too. So
people are not realistic. The world goes on as it always has, and it always will. So you people are living in dream world. So Peter prepares.
Precisely, exactly.
Outsiders will not
dream world. It's just so freaking human. Like the book is so clearly inspired, written and inspired by humans. That's all we're saying.
Bronze Age humans, yeah.
You know, and we make fun of it because the higher you put it on the pedestal and the more it clearly doesn't meet that standard, the more we're going to make fun of it. We heart you. We heart you, our brothers and our theist brothers and sisters, but it's so silly. Once again, we are watching, if you just joined us, we are Skeptic and Ranting, talking about the end of the world, watching a video from 1988. It still holds up. This could have been done at Ken Hovind Sovinar yesterday, which is our point.
But
he could have, this could have been done yesterday, and this gentleman could have had a billboard in this year saying the end of the world is nigh, and it would have been the exact same shtick and nothing would have changed.
Nothing's happened. Nothing. Literally nothing. And that's like, the Bible is not any more wrong than anything else Bronze Age man was putting out with. The only difference is that most people recognize the rest of it is the work of ancient man. It's nothing. It's nothing evil about it. It's just what people thought back in the day based on the knowledge that they had. It's all over. It's just when you take that book and you tell us that's absolute truth, that's what you need to follow, that's how you need to live your life, and that is absolute fact. That's pretty funny.
But James, you scoffer, why do you always have to pick on Christianity?
Well, nobody's telling us that any other claims back then we should take seriously.
And honestly, to me, it's any theology kind of creeps me out when I know that this goes back all the way to, Greek and Hindu traditions and all sorts of things. But, Christianity, Islam, they all have these end of the world. I think even the Jews kind of have hints towards it. And so, it's just an ugly thing. I understand that people reinterpret it. Believers reinterpret it to where it's beautiful, just like Jesus' sacrifice is beautiful. But if you're not, if you don't reinterpret, literally flip it, because that's what you have to do to reinterpret a sacrifice, like a murder, cold blood. End of the world just becomes kind of crazy, a little bit. Not like crazy is not the word. Really, it's evil because this guy is bringing upon the end of the world. I don't know. Moving forward, scoffers, you scoffers.
Understand this idea of the end of the world, but then he goes on, verses 5 to 7. He says, "For when they maintain," when he's saying when they maintain this, he's not talking about Christians. He's talking about people who laugh at this idea of the end of the world. He says, "For when they maintain this, it escapes their notice that by the word of God the heavens existed long ago, and the earth was formed out of water and by water, through which the world at that time was destroyed, being flooded with water. But the present heavens and earth, by his word, are being reserved for fire, kept for the day of judgment and destruction of ungodly men." Well, Now Peter himself said, you know,
you're going to get it, Amy. He's coming for us.
Let me answer your mockers.
Hot.
Let me answer the guys who are laughing at this teaching. And let me tell them this. Don't you people realize that at one time there was nothing and then God created the world?
Wait. First of all, scoffers don't believe. That's the whole point of the scoffing. And no, I don't think the whole point of being an atheist and a theist, I don't think either of us believe that something's from nothing. Do you believe something came from nothing, Mr. Preacher Man?
And then God, by the power of his word, destroyed the world with the flood.
Hey, Pat.
Don't you know people who mock?
Whoa, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to go back 4 seconds.
The power of
his
word.
Destroyed the world.
He told us how God did it, which is what you've been asking about for a while.
I want everyone to really hear that because I love this logic.
One time there was nothing, and then God created the world. And then God, by the power of his word, destroyed the world with the flood. Don't people who mock forget that at one time there was another bunch of people.
You forgot about that, Amy.
You're such a dummy. You're building this.
What the freak point is that? The scoffers forget that he had a bat back then and he was really good at wielding it? What the?
Okay. We don't think he's real. Not like, don't you remember when he told you that when the book says he killed all those people? Well, yeah, but it never happened.
His point is, hey, scoffers, you won't be scoffing so long. Remember when he drowned everyone? No, I don't, but thank you, Mr. Mafia Boss.
Out here in the desert, you know, no sail, no rudder, building away for 100 years or so, and there's no rain.
At 600 years old.
Laughing too, and then one day,
one day,
keep falling on my head. You know what I'm saying? And then 40 days of raindrops on my head, and
that's not rain. That's not rain, Mr. Preacher.
Oh,
that's not rain.
Now Peter says, "Look, you're saying that one day God is going to destroy the world, not this time by water.
That's a golden shower.
Water. He wanted to say fire.
Destroy it.
Like that would have been better.
With fire. Okay, so don't worry about the mockers.
So much
Just
better.
Understand how it's going to be done when it's done. Now, there are three things that we learn in this verse about the end of the world. First of all, the heavens and the earth were created by God's word. They were originally destroyed by his word.
That is not a mechanism. When I ask Christians, I'm like, what is the mechanism? And they say his word. That is how you order at Wendy's. That is not how you explain how you create people.
How he manipulates the matter and energy.
They will be destroyed by fire. Okay. Man isn't going to destroy the world. God's going to. I'm not afraid of some.
Wow. First of all, what a bold statement. And look at the giddiness. It's not going to be us, you stupid humans. Sure, it looks like we're destroying the world.
Don't worry about a nuclear holocaust, Amy. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason sometimes why they don't push for reforms or infrastructure and all this other crap. Because why pay for all of that stuff when we're going up to the happy special place?
Why would I want to give a little bit of my money for roads and bridges and infrastructure that's going to last 100 years when we're not going to even be here another 20 years?
You're going to be here. Exactly.
Let God worry about that. God will make the roads and the bridges.
He'll sort them all out.
Praise him.
Just so giddy for the end of the world.
Let's see.
Not pushing the button, because it isn't man who's going to. Man does not have the capability of destroying the world. That is reserved for God in his own good time.
I'm sorry.
He will do it.
Good sir, this is the 80s. We are 20 years past the 60s and World War II. No. Let me give you a short history lesson. We could definitely end the world. I don't know if you've been around.
We could destroy all. Could we obliterate the planet? No, but we could kill all life on it. Like when he made this video, the United States and the Soviet Union had nuclear weapons pointed at each other 24/7,
Cold War.
365. We had, Amy, enough nuclear missiles in the water and in the sky 24/7 that even if the Soviets were able to get a devastating nuclear attack and wipe out America, our planes and our subs could still destroy the Soviet Union, destroy all their major cities, even if we didn't see the missiles coming and they hit us. In the sky, they had all those nukes all day, every day, so that there was no way they could.
Basically, one of the prime subjects on people's minds.
Yeah.
Like, am I missing something here? Or is he like saying the complete opposite?
No, it's just a crazy lack of perspective. He doesn't think it's going to happen because he thinks the Bible's true, but it definitely could have.
Definitely could have. And still could, but we're trying to prevent that.
It still could, yeah. De-escalation has happened. Yeah.
Calmer. But yes, but we're still fighting with all the other countries, trying to de-escalate Iran and all this other stuff.
War, rumors of wars, Amy. You know,
rumors of war,
rumors of wars, sword fighting.
The thing that I learned from this passage is that God will destroy the world with fire. That's how He's going to do it. Not with bugs.
Wonderful.
Not with acid rain. He's going to do it with.
Whoa, were bugs and acid rain a choice?
Well, Amy, he's saying don't worry about it because that was an issue back then, the acid rain. Don't worry about these environmental regulations. It's bullshit.
Exactly. Why conserve anything, James?
Let the companies put whatever they want to put into the atmosphere. Let them do it because it's not going to make a difference anyway. God's not going to let that destroy the world. Acid rain, schmacid rain. You guys have been doing too much acid, and you've been doing too much acid and not enough praying.
Exactly. Gotta get on your knees, baby.
You spend a lot of time on your knees, but not praying.
But not for God. Exactly.
Not praying to God.
Judgment. Judgment comes at the end of the world. And at the end of the world, God not only will destroy the world, but He will also judge ungodly men. Okay?
Is that us?
The other little thing that is kind of thrown in there, I guess
that's us. Ungodly heathens. And Pat says this is why we need to cover the various creation myths of the ancient Mediterranean on the
Amy's going to cover you, Pat. She's going to cover you.
Episode of Talk Skeptic TV. And that is absolutely right.
Tell them,
and
Pat,
they really
episode 1 is coming out this week, probably.
Yes.
Amy's got her computer back, and she is working on that now.
We're basically going to figure out a time where we can all be on the premiere, and it's going up. Woohoo! And that's right. These people need context. They do treat themselves like this is the only mythos that ever was, and they got it originally inspired from themselves. Yeah, sure.
End of the world is the same time that Jesus is going to come. So it's all going to happen together. Jesus is going to come. The end of the world is going to happen. The world is going to burn. And evil people, unfaithful people will be judged. Okay, now let's keep reading. Verse 8.
Oh, okay.
It says, but do not let this one fact escape your notice, beloved, that with the Lord...
Another concept I really hate within all these religions, just judgment. So much judgment. And they go, well, who else is going to judge people? No one. No one is going to judge people. Stop trying to judge people.
The only people that judge people is other people. I mean, that's it. We can judge each other.
And they always ask, who are you to judge God? Who are you to make judgments? To which I like to remind them, we are literally the only people, the only agents we know of currently that can make judgments. Your God or whatever's over here where we're trying to prove. The only people, actual people who have been proven to be able to make judgment calls are us right here, along with a range of other animals, but generally speaking, animals.
Evolved animals.
Oh, it's another concept, not to get us too far off, but I just constantly think about how, they look down on animals. And so they will, on other animals, not all of them, but some of the real fundamentalists.
Right,
and
right.
They will say,
you tell the kids in school that they're an animal, they're going to start acting like animals. You see why these kids act the way they do. You've been teaching evolution. You tell them they're just another animal.
And it's because They put themselves underneath other animals. But if you just flip that, they say, how could you dare view yourself as equal to the cockroach? And it's not, it's that you flip that mindset and free yourself. I know it sounds hippy dippy, but to actually lift the cockroach up to just as equal as you, it's actually very freeing. I know it sounds like this hippy dippy enlightenment thing, but it's not. To accept that you are just as amazing as the cockroach, and that the cockroach is just as amazing as you, but in a variety of different ways, in their own way, it'll just be like a weight lifted off. I promise you.
And that's the thing, when Christians, they say that, and I know you've heard it before too, when they say that certain animals are more evolved than others. No, we are not any more evolved than a gorilla. We're not more evolved than a bacteria. They've had more generations, but because they have much lesser generation time, but we're the same as bacteria. Evolved. Yeah, we've evolved to survive in our environment. That's all that evolution cares about. It doesn't care about anything else.
They like to think like we are like the goal. So they're like a orangutan wishes it could just be us. If it could just be us. If a bacteria could just be us, it would just get up. It's like, no, they're all fine doing their own thing. Pat yourself on the back. We are a cool species. I love Homo sapiens. Not dissing us.
I thought you were going to say homosexuals.
Wow, those two, baby. Well, let me tell you, sounds gay, baby. I'm definitely in. But it's just, right. Once again, we don't have to look down on the other animals. We just have to lift them up with us, and we'll be okay.
How much money do we spend trying to eradicate animals like roaches? And we spend all this money on chemicals, on all these things to get rid of them, and they persevere because of evolution.
I was
chemicals, they can evolve to become resistant to that. They can survive on almost anything. They can survive on like rock dust from concrete.
I was looking at an extremely successful ant species, an invasive ant species lately, and they're fantastic in that they are communal and they set up little like tiny nests, and most ants have like a chemical on their antennas that will be like, well, we're one tribe, we're another tribe. This specific ant doesn't have that chemical. The entire species just has it universally. And so what that means is that they will actually meet strangers and will invite them into their hive.
They all work together.
They all work together. And they are an extremely hard species to kill, even against harder and bigger and more aggressive ants, because when you spray one mound, they will split into two and will form new mounds and share resources from close mounds to rebuild nests. They also have multiple queens and all sorts of stuff. I love nature. And okay, before we get too off topic, but I just hate this. Yeah. This looking down. This whole. It just goes with my anti-theism. It goes with the end of the world. So just these little notions that come with all the baggage of, yes, you have your community, and every Sunday you can feel great, and
you're made in God's image, Amy.
And I'll tell you, one of the quickest answer I always get when they're like, well, why do you think religion exists? I always go, fear of death. They're like, oh, it's not fear of death. Not completely, but a big chunk,
answering
I swear,
questions about the origins that we just didn't know. There's a way to answer questions we didn't have any data for.
And I just think it's a giant relaxer to just think in the back of your mind, you're going to go somewhere else. It's hard for me to really conceptualize how important this is, but I think it really is one of the major reasons that keeps people, especially in this country, in, is because, what happens is you're raised in the culture. You think that there's a heaven. Grandpa and grandma die. Maybe even mom and dad die. And then you realize that heaven isn't real. Well, shit. Now you have a crisis because you spent how many years having no preparation for the mentality of never truly, what's the word? Grieving. Never truly grieving. And so it could be a traumatic re-experience, finding out that these things that it feels like you're losing something even though it was never there.
Right.
And it's hard to not feel that way.
Religion is also, it's always, we can set up governments and we can have soldiers and police officers that watch for people doing bad things, but there's always going to be things that you do that nobody's ever going to see that you're doing that's wrong. So in a way, religion became a way of enforcing more, like, even if no human is going to catch you, Amy, God is still watching you. So even
the dad figure. They hate that thing. But
even if no human's going to see what you're doing, God knows, and he's going to be upset with you, and we can't do anything. He will make sure that you've got what you have coming. And actually, like, I know, I figured you would like that, but actually it actually works in backwards, because if you see like a lot of people who are really hardcore, like into the gang lifestyle, and they're very brutal, violent people, a lot of them have tattoos, or what do they say? Only God can judge me. And that's a way that they use to they do a lot of things that they know are wrong and evil and immoral, but they get away with that because they know that, well, I'm going to have to answer for it one day up there, and I'll make my peace with him. And it's a way,
get out of jail free card.
Right. Like, even if I don't get caught, I'm because they know there's a dissonance with what they do and what they know to be right and moral. And they just say, oh, well, look, I know I've got a lot of explaining to do when I get up there. He's not going to be happy, but I'll make my peace with him. And I'll just continue to brutalize and victimize people down here because, hey, only God can judge me, right? Only he knows what I've been through and everything. Only he knows, yeah.
And okay.
One day is
about a third left. We're moving towards the end of the video.
1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. A lot of people say, hey, God doesn't see the world like you see it. For God, a day is like 1,000 years. And 1,000 years is like a day. No, don't worry about it. God doesn't live in the yesterday and today and tomorrow like we do. He's eternal. For him, everything is now. So 1,000 years is nothing for God. So someone might say, well, why is he giving us so much time? Why doesn't he just end it all right away?
Maybe he's not there at all.
He answers this question. He says, the Lord is not slow about his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward you, not wishing for any to perish, but for all to come to repentance. So
but he knows who's going to repent and who's not.
Why does he tolerate mockers, people who laugh at him? He's patient. He's willing to bear under the mockery of evil men. Why? Because he loves them. Because he wants them to finally.
Because he loves you.
He wants you to come to him, not on him, Amy. But he's not going to reveal himself.
But I that line just very much has George's face all over it. Oh, why is he going to let him come to the end of the world? Why is he going to wait and be patient until he burns you? Because he loves you. Oh, got you.
He's up there having popcorn watching this. He knows what's going to happen. It's like a movie he's seen infinite number of times, but, and come to find out the kernels of popcorn are actually the heads of people that he killed. But They taste good for him. It's a sweet savor.
But they taste
sweet savor.
Just like the foreskins.
Hear his word. Finally believe it, repent of it, and come to him. He loves people. He gives them a chance. He gives them a long time to come around. You know, I was 30 years old before I became a Christian.
Baby, does he?
He was 30 years old. It happens.
And I didn't.
Yo, you're doing this just like the Bible. You're doing this to me. What you doing? We're gonna have you say that again.
He gives them a long time to come around. You know, I was 30 years old before I became a Christian. I'm glad God is patient. He gave me a long time to come around, and
he finally picked up that phone and called that escort.
I'm thankful that God waited for me.
After being 30.
It's hard for me to say, okay, God,
he totally just made it sound like he lost his virginity. That entire conversation. God just took his time. He went slow. We got there eventually, and he bought me dinner afterwards.
I'm in now. I'm safe. Pull the plug on the rest of these people. You know, so it's up to him to decide when to pull the plug and when to start the end of the world.
Pull the plug, Amy.
Get it? We're talking about people dying.
Don't pull the plug, Amy.
So now Peter, in verse 10, finishes with one last comment. He says, but the day of the Lord, that's the end, the day of the Lord will come like a thief, in which the heavens will pass away with a roar, and the elements will be destroyed with intense heat, and the earth and its works will be burned up. It'll come suddenly. All of a sudden, it'll be
suddenly.
over.
No, you kind of feel when it's going to happen.
You know, that eliminates all these people who are predicting when the end of the world. Anybody says to you, I know when the end of the world is going to be, head the other way. Run and hang on to your pocketbook.
Run. Yo, I'm sorry. Let me hear that again. Did you just make a run and pocketbook joke as a pastor? That's rich. Let me hear that again.
These people who are predicting when the end of the world. Anybody says to you, I know when the end of the world is going to be, head the other way.
I'm sorry. Isn't that you?
Well, he's saying like people that give specific dates and times. Those predictions. Charlatans. So don't give them your money, because then you'll have more money to give to me. So if you give them your money, then you will have less for me. So yeah, pay me.
I agree, but that is pedantic. He's just saying don't trust the people who make the specifics, but he's still saying it's coming. That's what she said. So,
like Ken Hovind, he's got a range. He doesn't give any dates, but he's like, I would think the tribulation will start maybe sometime in the late 2020s, because that'll give me a lot of time to sell stuff before then, 2028, 2029. And then when that rolls around and nothing's happened, you could say, well, you know, we might be in the first couple of years of the tribulation. We could be in. It could happen any moment. You know, you don't know, because, you know, I'm not pre-trib anymore, so you know it could have already happened. So keep
I'm pre-tribbing, but then I'm gonna fully trib. You have to take mushrooms for that. But
run and hang on to your pocketbook too.
Like they all get the joke in that.
Peter says we don't know. He's like a thief in the night, but when it comes, it'll be too late. No chance to, hey, wait a minute, I've changed my mind. Is it too late to apologize? Yes, it is. Much too late. All right, we've got to move on here.
That's your point, Amy. Like once you die, it's too late.
The scriptures today.
I know, which is such an evil thing. The moment you have actual evidence, you're gonna burn us. That's when the burning begins.
It's too late. Yeah, now it's too late. Sorry.
Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13 to 18. Verse 13 to 18. Now, we call this Bible talk, so we need a lot of Bible here. This is a letter written by Paul, and he's writing it to some Christians who have had a hard time. They've been taught that if they die before Jesus returns, they won't go to heaven. Oh. Okay? Now, here's what he says to them in verse 13 and 14. He says, but we do not want you to be uninformed, brethren, about those who are asleep, that you may not grieve as do the rest who have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep with Jesus. So what he's saying is, hey guys, don't worry. If you've believed and you've been a faithful
Read
Christian,
the last part of that verse
you die,
on the screen.
and then after that,
for if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so, God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep right next to Jesus, cuddled up cozy.
In Jesus.
In Jesus. Oh my. Yeah, let me say that.
Has that
one
ever happened
more.
to you, Amy? You fall asleep in Jesus?
So God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep in Jesus. Oh my. I haven't, but I feel like after the second date, I better. Woohoo! Sending love to Scapegoat. Hi. And all the people in chat. Ooh, I hope you're still
Is that
winning.
alpaca on his meme?
Alpaca? Is that an alpaca? Yes, it is. I like alpaca. Alpacas are cute.
They are.
if you've believed and you've been a faithful Christian and you die, and then after that Jesus comes, he's not going to ignore you. He'll bring you with him to heaven.
Definitely
Okay, let's
can,
read
most epic.
verse 15 together. Paul goes on and says, "For this we say to you by the word."
So only if you buy him dinner afterwards. That's the theme of this night. We're all going to be ladies and gentlemen after the end of this.
Of the Lord, that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not precede those who have fallen asleep. So don't worry about it. Those who are alive when Jesus comes are not going to leave with Jesus without the ones who have died. And here's why. Paul explains verse 16. He says, "For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first." What good news. If you're faithful and you die and Jesus comes,
Graves will rip open.
First one resurrected. Yeah. And then you will join the ones who are alive with Jesus in the air.
People died in the ocean will fly out of the ocean,
in verse 16 and 17, he says, "For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel and with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up."
Is this saying the dead are going to come back?
Yeah, the graves will be opened up, the resurrection of the body. That's what they believe. So even though it's a dichotomy, because they think if you die, you're in heaven now, but then there's a doctrine called soul sleep, which says if you die before the resurrection, your soul is just like in stasis until the resurrection. But most of them believe you'll be up in heaven, you just won't have a body, and then at this point your body will join you, and I guess it won't be decayed anymore. Jesus will make your body new again. I guess.
That's gotta suck though. You're chilling up in heaven or purgatory, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, everybody, gotta go back down. We gotta do Act 2.
We've got to go down for Armageddon.
Yeah, Armageddon. It's the end of the world.
We have to go fight the devil. Yeah.
Gotta look scary and shit. You're coming back from the dead, but it's Jeebus. You'll be fine.
How long is the battle gonna be? I mean, he can just kill them all instantly. We could do that, but it wouldn't really be epic if it was just God just killing them all instantly. Exactly. So we gotta have a battle, and
gotta have a battle. There has to be gods fighting.
The devil sword fighting with God,
yeah, versus God. The big confrontation. That's what sells tickets.
Sword fighting.
That's a different website, but also sells well.
God's is 15 foot long.
Meet the Lord in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. So this is the way it's going to happen. There'll be a shout. We'll see the Lord coming. The ones who are dead in Christ will rise.
He's going to be on cam.
They will join the ones who are alive in Christ. And together these...
Yo, if we took a shot of whiskey every time he said the word coming, we would be passed out right now.
Will be...
worse than Noah.
Christ in heaven. Okay, so Peter explains that the end will come suddenly, that all the creation will be destroyed by fire, and the evil will be punished. Paul, on the other hand, explains that Jesus will appear with his angels to resurrect the dead, to join them with the living, faithful, and to be with them in heaven forever. Now, it's not all clear sometimes, but there are some passages that help us to understand the end of the world. I hope these few passages have given you some insight as to what's going to happen when Jesus will return. Now, when we return, we'll try to make one brief summary of everything we've talked about in the last furious few minutes. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
Which is a fantastic transition. And all right, everyone, I think I'm going to prepare the link and get it ready to be set in chat. We're going to be switching into our open mic format. We will be watching the very end of this, just a few minutes left. But we have been skeptic and ranting, talking about the end of the world theology. And woo, it's been a doozy.
Almost like, remember a few months back we watched that video that it was right by Easter when they said the demons would be out killing people in the streets and the end was coming then, but it never really
whatever
happened. I don't know. I guess it got rescheduled, like a modern day debate that just keeps getting pushed back. I don't know. God couldn't get his act together. But it's funny in this. It's funny in this video he talked about that initial part with Rome and with the ancient Jews back then, and then he went into the Bible, but he really didn't connect the two very well. He just talked about one, then he switched to the other, but he didn't apply any of it to the modern day. Maybe he'll do that at the end when he wraps a bow on it. But
when he puts the final bow, just seemed like this is Jesus said he's gonna come. Be ready.
He will at some point, maybe. Well, not maybe.
I'll have
he will.
protection ready. I don't know what he's asking for. Whatever. And all right, I'm
keep that KY on hand, Amy. Keep it on hand.
I got freaking paper towels at this point because I think Jesus is about to come. And all right, I'm sending that link into there if you would like to join our live stream.
At 15 foot long, Amy, that would be like gallons. You are going to be doused, Amy. You are going to be... That is going to be a big mess, Amy, and you are looking forward to it.
Oh, it also sounds like a good time. So, we all have our own types of first dates. And all right, everyone, I'm sending that into the live stream. Please remember to keep your mic muted when not talking, but we're not going into open mic yet. Let's let him put his bow on it.
That's the holy angel singing.
How do Christians best prepare for the end? Watch and pray. Wow. Deep. Non-Christians. He who has believed and has been baptized shall be saved. Oh, well, there you go. Just dunk yourself in water.
Dunking atheism.
All right, I think this has been a good lesson. It's been fast. We've covered a lot of material in one short lesson period. But
I do have to say, that's normally what happens your first time. You're not alone.
He was 30 when it happened for the first time.
From Jesus Christ. Amen. Now, regardless of the differences of opinion that we may have, and there are differences of opinion about the end, there are certain things that we do know for sure that even a new Christian, even someone who's just beginning to study the Bible, can at least hang on to. Okay? Number one.
Hang on, Amy.
We know that the Bible does teach that Jesus will return. That's for sure. I mean, I'm sure of that. Number two, we do know that when he does, final judgment will take place. There's not going to be any of this paradise on earth stuff. When he comes, it's the end. And number three, it'll be the time.
It's the end, Amy.
Joy will begin.
No cuddle, no pillow talk. It's over.
That should be the theme of this podcast. When he comes, that's the end. Okay?
Yeah,
you heard it from him.
No pillow talk, Amy. I'm sorry. You're done.
The of suffering will begin
for boy.
People. So it's a very serious thing. Very serious thing. Well, the purpose for this lesson is this. I want to encourage those who are faithful to Jesus Christ to keep on going, not quit. And I want to encourage those who don't know him to get to know him before he returns. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you very much. Thank you at home. God bless.
All right. Woo! The wisdom.
Was it good for you, Amy?
Else. Oh, it was. Was it as good for you as it was for me? And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the other view over from Bible Talk. We are talking the end of the world on tonight's Skeptic and Ranting. James, do you have any thoughts about the wisdom we've been experiencing or talking about before we go into the open mic?
Well, I mean, this video was just a very, very vague overview. Like he went on 2 totally different segments. He really didn't tie them together very well. But like I said, in a way that isn't his fault, because there is just so much material to cover. We could do, 10 3-hour broadcasts on this and still not even cover it all. But yeah, it looks like a funeral director, or a used car salesman.
But at least a used car salesman is actually selling something. So there you go. I have fun. Look, it's Fuck turtles all the way down, Xanos. Turtles all the way down.
Fuck us.
Fuck us. And all right.
Did you see Darth put that fake picture of himself out? Did you see that?
Yo, can I say that went from funny to fuck Darth really fast?
Yeah.
Because if that is a dead person, then what the fuck? Like, we are both trolls. They don't understand comedy or trolling. Like, they don't. Like, I feel like I need to sit them down and be like, and these are the people that have these supposed moral high ground that we completely topping over. Like, is that what happened? That is what happened?
I think that is what happened, yeah.
He is like, hey, I am trying to become a public debater speaker. BT dubs, I'm never going to show my face because that's blah, blah, blah. Because people are going to hunt me. Why are people going to hunt me? Because I'm an asshole. No, you should never dox anyone, but it is weird. And so it's...
Except for Darth. I won't even say that face.
Well, whatever. I don't care about the... My point is that then... he does this whole thing where it's elusive because you don't show my face and people care about it, and that somehow gives people power.
Like that other YouTuber that doesn't want to show his face. You know the guy from Chuck E. Cheese.
Exactly. Well,
it's totally not him, but he doesn't want to show his face.
Like I don't want to show my face sometimes because I don't always have my best face on. I'm just lazy. But they're guys. What the fuck? Okay, they don't have to sit there and spend 30 minutes putting their face on, or even if they did, you do this stuff semi-professionally, and yet you're gonna do. I don't know what that was because it looked set up. It looked like he planned an accident, unless those women or whatever were involved.
Make it look like an accident.
I don't think they were. They seem surprised. Who the fuck knows? But. Yes, not to go too off topic, but just shit like that pisses me the fuck off because then they talk around and they're like, how can atheists even have morals? Well, we don't use dead people like that. We start with that, step one. Wow, we actually have respect for the dead, you fucking asshole.
The sad thing is like he picked somebody that kind of looked like Darth's voice would sound a little bit, so it kind of made sense. But without
he
Darth's
looked like a guy who could have been him.
But without Darth's mother, Gary, time for dinner.
Time for dinner. And
wrap things up with your friends, Gary. You can talk to your friends after dinner.
More Christian love, ladies and gentlemen. And all right, with that, we are switching into in fact, we are Skeptic and Ranting, talking about the end of the world. We thought we survived it, but it looks like the Christians from now until we actually do die are going to keep on telling us we're going to die. So forever. Bird is the word. We're going to die. Well, It all happens to us, but hopefully I'll eat a lot more cheeseburgers in that time frame. But Bird is the word. Exactly. How are you tonight, Bird? And we are talking end of the world theology. What are your thoughts about the subject, the video, or anything we've been talking about?
Well, the video was just, it was, yep, that, it was so terrible. So terrible.
Yeah,
tons of information. Tons of information in there.
All logical, definitely
plausible, probable.
Little PP. Yeah, it's just hilarious. I don't know of many Christians that actually think anything that he said does still hold true or ever held true. I don't know. It was funny. I will say about the Dar thing, he is such a piece of shit for doing that. And the guy did die last year from cancer. Peter proved it with the same video, the guy had the same shirt on. It was, I don't know what he's thinking. And I don't know if anybody has said about it to him, but he is a piece of shit for doing that.
There's only one way that it makes it okay, is if he truly, well, not okay, but if he truly didn't know and it was a true accident, though, even then, the amount of fucked upness, I don't know. There's hard to.
Why would you have that video? That guy has like 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
How could you have that video on your computer and just put it up like that?
He doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Honestly, it seems like, there are a few times in a few streams where I'm seeing the lowest of the low. Yeah. Like I said, I just gave my most charitable. I'm searching my brain, trying to think of the most charitable interpretation. But stuff like that actually makes me emotionally angry because it just.
So callous, so uncaring. Just
it's the dual thing, because it is both his self-consciousness to not show who he is, which is a little bitch move, because if someone truly doesn't want to show who they are, like I said, because they're being hunted or something like that,
no one's hunting him.
No one is hunting.
He's a fucking idiot.
No one cares.
We just make fun of him. We're not going to hunt him down.
And he feels very powerful. I guarantee you, him and his field and his channel and all his minions and all of that. So it's that combined with picking on someone that is, I can't even say it. We're the atheist. We're the heathen fucking.
I guess so.
Degenerate, moral
degenerates.
Wrecks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's crazy. But anyway, how are y'all doing?
But we're doing pretty good. And thank you so very much,
Woohoo!
Woohoo! And all right, there's only Leo backstage. Then we'll go into open conversation. Woohoo! But we have the link pinned in chat. We are skeptic and ranting, having fun talking about. Woohoo! Pinned it on the donkey, baby. We are talking end of the world theology. Leo Filius, I hope you are
He's
doing
in his bunker
well.
There. Prepared for the end of the world. He's got plenty of beer in there to get him through the apocalypse.
So, what are your thoughts about the end of the world theology, the video specifically, or anything we've been really talking about?
Yeah, I don't really know all that much about eschatological aspects of most theological systems. I just thought it would be interesting to come in and listen to everybody talk about those things. There's been a lot of stories out there about the end of the world. Most of them just don't even make sense. Like I don't even like what you're saying is more like the end of humans existing on Earth, not the end of the world.
Yep.
Right.
There isn't any reason to suspect that like the universe will stop existing. So if somebody's going to talk to me about the end of the world, my first question is, what do you mean when you say end of the world?
Well, there'll be a fire, I guess, that God is going to scorch the earth with and burn everything that was made by humans away, and then make a new heaven and a new earth, I guess is how the thing goes, before he starts his 1,000-year kingdom, where he will personally rule the earth for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why Jesus would want to rule the earth, I don't know. I mean, you've got heaven, dude.
Book.
What do you want the earth for?
It makes
as much
sense as Bran wanting to rule at the end of Game of Thrones.
Which made no sense at all.
Exactly. And okay, with that, we're going to go into open conversation. Thank you so very much, Leophilius. And all right, if you'd like to join us, the link is in chat and pinned. We are Skeptic and Ranting, talking about the end of the world.
So a lot of this was new for you, Amy, because you weren't never a Christian. So a lot of this, I'm sure, is probably a new concept for you.
They hint at like stuff in concepts, but it's like a Marvel movie, and it's like that ending thing. It's not in the actual movie. It was like an after credits scene.
Yeah.
But the Christians and the Muslims, that's like their whole shtick. So yeah, a lot of this is all new to me, especially Revelations and all that stuff, which I hear is quite the, like you were saying, a trip.
We'll get there. Well, a lot of the Christians believe that the Islamic, so they think the Imam Mahdi, which I guess is the Muslim Messiah figure, that he's going to be the Antichrist, and that the ending will be like a Islam versus Christianity, and that's going to be the showdown, is what some people think. Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, used to be a common Antichrist contender thrown around, but as with everything else, it just never happens,
Yeah. Never seems to come. And okay, we're actually gonna.
That's what she. Yep, Bird caught that.
Instead of going the ones, I'm just gonna add people in. I think that's gonna be the new transition. So, Scapegoat, how are you? We are Skeptic and Ranting, talking about the end of the world theology. Oh my God, we had a scapegoat and then we lost him.
Here you go.
We'll have to make Bird the new scapegoat.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Bird, what are you doing? Everything goes wrong when you're around, Bird.
Can you hear us, Scapegoat?
I can. Never done this. I'm looking for control. Can you see me?
We see you.
Yes, okay. And so is Yahweh.
Hail Satan, Yahweh. Okay, I'm going to turn the cam off so I get better reception.
Okay.
Well, how you doing tonight?
That sounds good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, knowing people like you are around.
Thank you so very much.
Ugh.
So we've seen you in chat a few times. We've never seen you come in here, but you have a channel? What do you do?
No, I'm I just spent 3 decades studying the Bible with all of my disabilities and stuff, and throughout my life, throughout the time that I devoted to trying to live a Christian life with being bisexual, secret bisexual, open rebel, I didn't have faith. I just believed there was a God. I believed it was the God I was told about, and I began to read the Bible, and I just lived in total fear and confusion. My Christian life was never about faith or trust, and I just hoped to hell Jesus would somehow decide to save me from hell and save me from his prick-ass father. I mean, that's my Christian life. How somebody goes, oh, I just love Jesus and God is so good. You don't know the Bible, or you know it and you're just talking out of your ass. One of the two. I don't know. I think it's left me a fucking basket case. Either I've got neurological problems, or this shit has made me what I am. One of the two.
And I think
I've got an ass load of biblical knowledge, especially in the New Testament, and I thought I would just chime in, especially on this thing.
Welcome aboard.
We love ass loads.
Damn right, if this is the right kind, yeah. This thing about specifically, and then I'll stop.
I love bisexuals. Okay, just gonna throw that out there. Keep on going.
Okay, and I
like vagina.
I like them too.
China.
I like
China.
Tyrannosaurus Rexes. They're cool.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah.
Did I say it wrong? It's
Oh no, I'm a
Good
Tyrannosaurus
old
Rex, baby.
Tyrannosaurus Rexes.
I've got to get my headphones on. I'm not missing any of this shit.
But
Okay.
I think what he says, a lot of it, because I do have said that before, that I think a lot of them, they kind of read the Bible and they kind of think to themselves, this God guy, he's a dick, but I'm afraid of him. I don't want him to be mean to me, so I better just keep worshiping him. But he's actually kind of a dick, and I would rather have him not burn me in hell. I like what happened when God just decided to incinerate 2 of Aaron Ra's sons, and Moses is like, don't complain, don't bitch, just keep on moving, or he'll burn you or burn your other 2 sons that he hasn't already
Which
killed.
is a horror movie scene. Like
Right.
kills the 2 kids, and Moses just turns his head. He's just like,
don't do it. Don't say anything.
Don't scream.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
He'll kill you if
him-
you scream.
Hands him a dustpan and a broom. Go ahead and sweep up your sons there. And
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, as much as he loves you, he will burn your ass in hell if you piss him off because he loves you.
Because he loves you. We're quoting Georgie all night, and we should quote Georgie all night.
Yeah.
All right. And moving along, we're opening more
Which
doors.
Which Georgie? Like You'll Float Too,
George
Georgie?
Carlin.
Oh no. Okay, never mind.
That one too, but no,
Comedic,
mostly George Carlin. Well, we are Skeptic and Ranting. We are talking about end of the world theology, and it hasn't happened yet, so we're doing good.
Oh, yeah, that's why I
Yeah,
called. Can y'all hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the reason, that's what spurred me to just finally call in this thing about the world, the end of the world. And when I was studying it, again, it's hard to talk about this shit as if it's true, knowing it's not true, but we have no other way to discuss it. So here we go. It says, the world will pass away and blah, blah, blah. And in the Greek, in Revelation, it seems to indicate that this world system will pass away. The surface will be burned up and it'll be recreated, made new. And the Greek word there, new, is something that has not been before. So he's going to recycle the earth and turn it into something that it was not before, which would be perfect. If you could done that, if you could do it later, you could have done that before. So anyway, it's just, that's what crossed my mind was that, I mean, a lot of Christians don't even know that, because how many Christians actually study their Bible? I didn't have a choice. I had to escape hell. I didn't have a choice. It didn't matter that I had a lot of learning disabilities and all these other things. I didn't have a choice. I studied it. And it was hell for 20 years until I gave up trying to deal with church people. It was hell trying to find anybody who would actually get down and study the Bible. They're not serious. It's a culture club to them. It's bizarre. How could
Or cafeteria.
Mm-hmm. Or a
Good old
cafeteria.
cafeteria.
Yeah, there could be. God loves me, and I'll just take what makes sense to me, and I'll leave what doesn't make sense to me or what sounds horrible. I'll just leave all that and trust that God's love. And heard that shit all my life. Just eternal puke. Horrible. So I'm
I think Will might have a slightly different take on that.
And I was going to say, and you're most welcome here. I was going to say, I'm a little bit of an anti-theist, but that does mean, or that doesn't mean, I hate my theist brothers and sisters. Hi, Will.
Hello, hello.
Yes,
How you
don't
doing,
hate
Will?
them.
Good to see you.
I don't hate. I hate the system. That's all.
Oh, no, you'll find a lot of support here.
That's what anti-theism is. Anti-theism makes no statements about theists. It makes a statement about theism. That the idea of theism is an idea which detracts value from society. That's all anti-theism states.
Good. I'm glad to hear that from somebody else. besides a damn dictionary. People, somebody understands.
Woohoo.
I'm glad you don't want to kill me.
Oh, hell no. No.
You're a baby.
I'm not God.
You kill babies.
I'm not God. I'm.
Well,
Yeah, I don't want to kill nobody. Now, you're talking about somebody like Steven Anderson. That's a different story. He wants to kill people. Now, I think we should be prepared for people who want to kill us to protect ourselves because they're there. I'm not
well
trying.
prepared.
Yeah, they're good because they do want to kill us. Not all, some of them, especially this Steven Anderson and the butt heads of the New Independent Fundamental Baptists.
NIFB, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. That ought to be shut down. I guess I don't agree with freedom of speech because I don't agree. I mean, I agree we should be able to say what we want to say. That way we get to find out who the psychopaths and the sociopaths are because they have the freedom to speak also. But once they reveal the fact that they want to kill innocent people because their mythology demands it, we need to take them out of society, out to an island somewhere, something. Get them out of society because they're toxic, they're poison.
Well, if you did that, then they wouldn't.
It's already illegal to incite violence. So if he's made those claims, he should be arrested.
Well, he
that?
politically, he has political aspirations about, punishing adultery and homosexuality with the death penalty, which is never going to happen, but he has mentioned it before, but I don't think anybody's going to take it seriously, fortunately.
I don't know. I heard recently and I have trouble remembering things, but I heard recently there are over 300 bills in place that basically restrict human rights and uphold Christian dogma and trying to put it into law. That's worrying me. I mean, I'm old. I'm not going to be here another 20 years. And if I am, I'll be damn surprised, but I'm not going to be here. But I still do give a damn about the people who live on after me. And I'm not even going to be there to care, but I care now. That's the thing. I would love to see this overturned. They want to set up the Protestant Vatican right here in America. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sit around and watch it happen. I'll join any damn body who is against it and would fight for it. I may not be able to push pencils and file papers.
What
but
is the Protestant Vatican?
Yeah, I'm confused.
I speak metaphorically, like all the time. Protestant Vatican, a Protestant, literally a Protestant high church.
Like a theocracy, I think is what it means.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They want to set up a theocracy in the vein of the Vatican for 1,000 years. And the Vatican, the popes ruled Europe with an iron fist for 1,000 years until Martin Luther stood up and said, "Pope, that's not what the book of Galatians says. Fuck you." And somehow he made it stick. And since then, their power over Europe began to fall. Started a 30-year war, and the Vatican has not had the power that they lost then. They still haven't got it back. And I hope they don't get it back. And I hope the Protestants lose it also. I'm not trying to take the Bibles away from little grandmas and grandpas out here that don't know what we've learned in history and linguistics and stuff. There's way too much for them to learn to ever get over it. I just let them go to their peace. Bless your Jesus, Grandma. Love you, and that's good. But from here on out, need to educate people where the public schools are not educating people. They've lied to us about our history, our American history. They've lied to us about that. I grew up thinking America was the savior country. We saved other countries from their evil dictators. That's what America was to me. And I grew up to find out that's not true. I don't know how I got that in my head. Well, yeah, I do too. Propaganda. But I thought that's what it was. Turns out that's not true. I thought the Indians and the Pilgrims got along. Well, no, they didn't. Just because they may have had a few parties together, that doesn't mean anything. They did not, by and large, get along. They had war, and what the hell's people thinking? Why are Indians on reservations now instead of having part in America? They literally do not have any part in American system at all. They're stuff on reservations. That's just the whole thing. The more I learn about the American history, the more sick I am of it. Very sickened. 400 years of slavery, 200 of them under, wasn't 200. You know what I mean? It was too many years of, more years before America became America, and then 100 and some years after they became America, before slavery was abolished. And I think America did not abolish slavery until after England and after Jamaica. I mean, we're just going to be behind on everything.
Well, yeah, it was a little bit after. I think England did it in the 1840s, but yeah.
Right.
They abolished the slave trade much earlier than that, but in the 1812 or 1813. But that didn't free the existing slaves. Yeah.
Right.
But I think we're going to let Will.
Anyway,
make an opening statement if he wanted to do that. Will,
I just came on because there was, nobody, not that many folks jumping on tonight, and I figured you need somebody to poke and laugh at. So,
you baby burner.
But no, like on the theology of the end of the world, I don't necessarily think that it's the end of the world. There are multiple theological positions that people talk and discuss about this particular eschatology. I mean, you have amillennial, postmillennial, premillennial. You have pre-tribulation,
mid-trib, post-trib,
post-trib,
mid-late trib.
There's a lot
I'll take that with fries, please.
There are people that think that the world, for instance, is just like, so if you're a premillennialist, right, you believe that Christ is going to come back and the judgment happens before the world is destroyed, right? It's just made new. It's born again, and then Christ will rule for 1,000 years on this made new earth, and then you have eternity.
Millennial kingdom, yeah. After the devil gets let out one more time to raise hell, and then God will find.
Yeah, and it's not just Christians who will be resurrected. It will be unbelievers as well, and there's the judgment.
But theirs won't be a very happy resurrection.
Well, yeah.
Because their soul's been in hell, but then their body's going to join them after it's been judged, I guess. But
yeah, and that depends too. Scripture's not completely clear on what happens to the soul after a person dies here and now, right?
You don't have a soul.
Are you a proponent of soul sleep, or where do you go on that?
I'm a sola scriptura, so the things that aren't specifically laid out Scripture, I just tend to say I don't know.
Good for you. Yep.
Simply for the fact that I don't like to add to the text. I don't like to do that.
So there are verses that seem to go either way,
Yeah, so for me, I just tend to go with Scripture. Like, so for me, I would say that I'm probably a premillennialist. I probably fall into that camp simply because that's the most that has the most scriptural basis. But even then, it's not enough clarity in Scripture to say that is how it will happen. But I would say that's the majority of it. The weight of evidence is on that position. Personally.
Yeah, I went from being exposed to Baptists, wasn't one of those, and Pentecostals, and I wasn't one of those. I was kind of like somewhere in between, and finally I ended up with John MacArthur and R.C. Sproul. Just my last two teachers I listened to was Sproul and MacArthur, and I realized I was pretty much a Calvinist. It is what the Scripture says, and if you can't take it all into account, then you're just cherry picking from the buffet. And so we gotta do something with everything that was written, and it has to find a place in there. And I pretty much ended up with Calvinism. Don't remember the tulip, but
Will knows it.
Will knows it, yeah.
Oh, Calvinist, yeah.
Yeah.
Total depravity, unconditional election,
Limited atonement,
limited
irresistible grace, yeah,
perseverance of the
Right.
saints.
Right. And I got there because some of the things Jesus said, or the character of Jesus in the book says that in one hand he says, "Come to me, all you who are laboring or heavy laden, I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, learn of me, for it is easy and light." And then he says, "No one comes to the Father except by me." And it's pretty clear that they're both are there. Come unto me, and then on the other hand,
Amy's getting excited.
God knows
there will be
who
those who declared they
Oh,
cast
my.
out demons in my name, and I'll say, "Depart from me, for I never knew you."
that too, but there is the elect. There you're chosen. So there's that. No one comes to me except the Father draws them or woos them, romances them to me, and I had some hope in that for a while. Well, that's what's happening with me. I'm certainly drawn to avoiding hell, so maybe he's drawn to me and saving me from hell. So maybe I'm all right. And that lasted a few years, and finally I was like, no, I don't apply, because I am bisexual, and it's not my choice. I'm born this way. Looking back on it, I could see it all the way back to 5 or 6 years old.
So you've always felt attraction towards both, but you suppressed it for a long time, or you didn't just never came to terms with it?
Yeah, I began to suppress it at 21 when I started the self-indoctrination. I really got the fear of hell in me. Like, this is real. If I misunderstand this, there's no understanding it correct later. I got this one life to understand it correctly and escape hell, and whatever the hell heaven would be like is fine. It's escaping hell. I didn't want to know God. I wanted to know Jesus. I didn't want to go to heaven. I wanted to avoid hell. My Christian experience, born and raised in this stuff, my Christian experience is nothing but fear.
Fear is never a good motivator.
But that's what it. Well, you take away
that's
hell.
Not true at all.
Well, you take away hell.
Yeah.
Take away
it can be
hell.
an effective motivator, but it's not a good motivator.
No, it's not good.
Effective and good.
It depends on
what is a good motivator if not a method that is effective?
Exactly.
I love you.
Good and effective are two different things.
I love you.
In this context, I would think the term good would refer to any method that is objective, because that would be what is normative when it comes to something being persuasive. Is that it's effective at doing that.
No, I'm talking. Well, obviously, it wasn't effective because he's no longer afraid of it, right? So,
well, for him, yes.
No.
I would argue to an extent that I think it was effective for a while.
Yeah,
he believed pretty strongly.
Yeah, well,
I'm not afraid of hell, though.
It was effective in causing me to fear, but it was not effective in convincing me it was true. Because the more I learned, the more layers of Christianity I had to peel off of me. Okay, Onions. Well, Benny Hinn. Well, that's peeled off. I never was with him. I never was with him to start with. I'm just saying, the first time I encountered Benny Hinn, or that weirdo from Texas, can't remember.
John Hickey.
No, that's one of them. But I'm thinking about the
Kenneth Copeland.
Ah, yes, that's the one. That's the. So I knew immediately, if that's God, I'm going to hell, because I'm not going to give myself to a spirit that's going to dominate my mind to make me act that damn stupid. I have no hope. If that's the Holy Spirit, I'm dead right now.
Speak in tongues. You don't want to do that.
No, and I never wanted to. If God
Juggle
did it to me,
rattlesnakes? No. Okay.
oh hell no, that was out immediately. I knew that passage wasn't a part of whatever the original might have been. I knew that pretty much immediately, because one of my first Bibles I purchased was the NIV Study Bible, and I NIV studied that damn thing.
NIV.
So it was just a bunch of damn confusion, and I would honestly, looking back on it, I don't remember encountering any Christians who were like me, who took this seriously, thought of it rationally, and yet still believed it and wanted to make sense of it. And all I got was, devil's got your mind, boy. You asking too many questions. I've been called a non-believer, demonized, demon possessed, and I'm sure behind my back they called me satanic, probably simply because I wanted to know. And it wasn't about knowledge; it was about faith. Had it been about knowledge, faith would have no place. And going back to what I said before, if you take hell out of the picture, if you die, you'll go to heaven. But if you don't please God, you'll just not exist when you die. Well, hell, that's fine. Now you've got no motivation.
There are a lot of them who do have that belief, but
yeah,
I know. I don't see it with all
Annihilation
this.
God.
I don't see it. So anyway, I've rambled enough. Go ahead.
People don't please God.
No, not at all. In fact, you got a fan out there.
yeah, Dave Gar.
Night, Dave Gar.
Good night, Dave. Well, I mean, what he's saying, I think, is what a lot of people think, and it's kind of like, I think it's a lot of people have those thoughts, especially like when you've been in the system for so long and you get out of it. It's liberating, and you kind of feel angry at what you've been through, like the lies that you've been told and how you've been forced to think about things, especially someone, like he is, having a sexual orientation that is not compatible with the Bible, and trying to live with that, and the guilt that brings, and that you have these biological desires that you can't make go away, but God says they're bad,
Yeah, check this out. I conquered the thoughts of this probably 2 or 3 different times in my life. It was all in my 20s, but it always returned. Why? Because that's my genetic makeup. That's my brain.
How you're wired.
My brain is expressing a mind, and that's it. I cannot be what I'm not, and I cannot unbe what I am. So.
And if I could just bounce off that, especially if attraction.
Oh yeah,
because I am as bisexual. Woo-hoo. My joke is I don't know which way is gay or straight at this point. It's just all out.
Yeah, at this point, it's
But what most people don't understand, who haven't really thought about their attraction very much, is it just happens so fast that it's not like an intellectual decision. You don't like walk somewhere and be like, do I think they're attractive? Maybe I should start to find them hot.
Yeah.
It's like, no, someone walks by you and you just go, wow.
I'd like to tap that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not like an intellectual discussion. It is just.
Do I like? Am I attracted?
No, it's very simple.
Yeah,
right?
sexual attraction is
you feel a little tingle in your twaddles, or you don't. Right? I mean, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
smash
you
or
can't
pass.
change. You can't change that. You can change how you react. You can be a gentleman and a lady. We all should be.
Yeah, like I'm attracted to a lot of women, but I tend to not cheat on my wife. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
I
tend-
just feel like
you tend towards that, Will?
I like how Bird caught that. I didn't even.
Yeah, I
I tend
basically
not
try
to.
not to, you know.
Well, I mean, Bird, you gotta give it.
But
Jesus
that
said that if you look at another woman, you've already committed adultery.
Committed
maybe
adultery,
that's what
you're
he's
right,
talking about, because every man, even while married, you once in a while your eyes will stray a little bit, is going to happen. And
Yeah.
Jesus said that's adultery. That's bad. Bad
I'm
boy.
guilty of it.
Bad boy, Will.
Yeah,
so bad.
Thought crime.
Guilty of it,
Thought
yeah.
crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conspiracy
Okay,
to
freaking
commit
thought crime.
conspiracy to
Can't-
commit adultery.
Guilty.
Yeah.
That's me.
You
Yeah.
cannot control your thoughts. If I could do that, I would have
Well-
never went to a mental hospital 3 times.
Yeah.
In my
The point of being
20s,
guilty is
my
just to
freaking
show you that
mind.
you need something other than yourself, right? It's not. You shouldn't
Yeah,
feel
but-
guilt for the thing.
but I don't feel guilty anymore.
That's good.
I never felt guilty. I felt fear. I felt resentment towards God that he would create me in my mother's womb and yet not safeguard me against this that he would burn me forever for. It was nonsensical.
But you're not
was-
burned for that, though.
It doesn't matter why I'm burned. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter why someone is thrown into hell. That's what happened. And I'm a dad, or would have been a dad. I have a son, and I would in no way treat my son and my stepdaughter the way it's described in the Bible. It's not acceptable. It's immoral.
Yep.
Just the thoughts of a magistrate and a judge having the power to put a man in prison, not for the rest of his life, but to keep him alive throughout eternity and to torture him in that prison, keeping him alive. That's sadistic as hell. And I became an apostate, runaway slave, before I ever realized I was atheist. Because, I mean, one day I said, God, that's it. I'm not trying I was 47 years old. I'm not trying anymore. You have failed me in my childhood, my adult life, my marriage. You failed my son, my stepdaughter. You have failed me in every way possible. I'm 47 years old now, and I need more money every month than I can make to survive. I don't even have money for food or medicine, and you're not helping me.
Yeah, I don't think God failed you there. I think capitalism failed you there, buddy.
Well, yeah, but I have neurological disorders too, so I can't just remember shit because I want to.
But if God's real, then he would be able to make up for the faults of capitalism. So it still is in the end God's fault, and God does say in the Bible, "Hey, look at the birds. I feed them.
Look at the tree.
How much important are you than a bird to God?" So don't worry about anything like that. Just God's gonna take care of you, man. Don't even think about it. You're made in His image, Leo. You got this.
Yeah, that's
bootstraps. Pull yourself up, man.
That's right. God was a capitalist, and Jesus was a socialist. Oh,
I like to quote Forrest Gump.
Also, Bird, are you making a mixed drink?
He's making Legos.
Oh, sorry. I'm playing with my Legos.
Are you really? That's funny.
There's nothing wrong with playing with Legos.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
about to get
in the bottle.
I'm about to get paid to work with Legos in a few hours, which is kind of a crazy concept. But I teach robotics 201 today.
You're doing Lego Mindstorms?
We are Mindstorms is for the older kids. We're doing We Do, which is
gotcha.
right before it, but then we will. I love it.
Amy, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you a university professor?
No, I'm so close to getting. I'm about to get. My one master's is pending, and then
Masters in what?
To get a master's. I'm going for a master's in education, in teaching technology, and then a master's in information systems.
Ooh,
and so, the information systems is a pain in the butt because I'm building a website and the thesis and all of that. But I love teaching technology and stuff. So this is perfect, except for it's okay paying. But
until then, she's just a master of baits.
Yes. I honestly feel like Kindergarten Cop. Like the kids are adorable, but it feels like, all right, are we excited to make robots? And then it's like, yeah.
like the first day when all the kids are just destroying the whole room. They're going crazy. Yeah.
I mean, they're very cute in that they're interested in scientific concepts and stuff. And it is interesting. It reminds me very much that you start to really realize how much you know a concept when you can teach it back to people. Exactly. And so that's cool.
Teach it to people who know nothing about it. That takes skill.
Exactly. Two things. It's cool. Like Bird will tell you, it's actual robotics things. I was a little skeptical, but we're building real cool stuff.
Like your Rectors.
Yeah, Mindstorms are even cooler.
Yeah, they have the new one, but I don't have the money for it. But it's like a $300 set, but it is like next level. You use infrared controllers,
like your own drones and shit.
Yep. It's crazy. Anyway. Sorry for being loud.
Looks like we are facing the end of a world in some sense. We're going to hopefully we're ending the world of superstition and starting a new world of science. And
that is what I'm hoping.
Wish I could be here for it.
Don't shove yourself out the door yet.
Yeah, man, you're talking like you're 90 fucking years old.
Well, I'm 53 and I've got a lot of miles on me, so I'm probably 60, really, or more.
You got another 25, 30 on you, unless you don't want that.
I don't know, the stress and the cigarette smoke and the worrying. And the years of homelessness. Yeah, just the lifelessness, homelessness, and starting over, thinking things might work out. No, it didn't. Homelessness again. It
takes a toll on you.
I was homeless for a single day. I'm very sympathetic, though.
Wow, I was actually on the street homeless. In all my homeless years, it was always the homeless shelter, but I actually did stay on the street for 2 weeks and 1 day, actually homeless, or actually houseless, shelterless, and I don't know how to describe it. It's like facing the beast, and there's nothing else you can do. You can't turn left or right because he can run 5 times faster than you, but he's just standing there looking at you, waiting to devour you. But he's not devouring you. That's what homelessness was. That's what my experience of homelessness was. The beast is at the door. He's just not pouncing yet, but I can't run from him. So I might as well just be here frozen.
It's like drowning, but everybody around you is breathing just fine.
Yeah. And every now and then you get enough air to keep going, and then you start drowning again. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the way life is. I mean, at some point, the party's not over. It's just your invitation expires, and then the party's going to go on just without you.
You gotta leave.
That's a tough thing to. Yeah, that's a tough thing to get.
A lot of people don't want to. Yeah, a lot of people.
Well, I'm ready. With all I've seen.
Hitchens put it.
Yeah, Chris, I love him.
He's one of the major reasons I'm here. There's 2 people why I'm here, and that is George Carlin and Christopher Hitchens.
And your parents.
And Mike. Well, so 4 people.
So 4 people.
Who are great people, despite what other YouTube apologists, YouTube Christians, as we'll call them, despite what they might say.
I forgot they attacked my parents.
Can I ask you another question?
One time.
Wow.
I will say that was the one time. Yes, just kidding. That was the one time broke me because I lurk a lot of channels.
You never know when she's watching. When she's lurking
Smokey.
Like a tiger.
It was one of the people on there. Now I'm already doing that. But one of the people on there
he agreed with it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Eventually, he probably did, and I hate that shit because let me tell you, I'm gonna tell this to the world forever. My parents are the best people in the world. I will spend the rest of my life trying to catch up to how awesome they are.
That's good.
And so it just fucking annoys me when people take pot shots at them for who I am, and especially, obviously the easy one to relate to is the National Socialists and all that. Those terrible people who talk so badly about Jews and all that shit.
Bigot's gonna bigot.
Hates me. I know, but they're just the sweetest people. My parents would love the people who hate them, and it kills me on the inside.
Wow.
So yeah,
But
that answers
I
my
love
question.
There's people that
everybody.
hate Jews on both sides, right? Yeah.
What's that?
Well,
I said it answers my question.
People
I was
that
gonna
hate Jews
ask
on
you.
both sides of the political spectrum.
I was gonna ask you if your
Well, that's
parents have been generally supportive of you, but it sounds like they have been. So
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they at one point they were. I go through they're definitely not thrilled stage. That has to go for like a year or two, because it was definitely not a supportive world like 10 years ago. But
It's
then
true.
they kind of, and
It wasn't
then
their
they
hate,
kinda-
but it's like, how is the world going to react
No.
to you? I think.
Yeah,
was
it's like-
well,
Right.
more of like a
Am I-
fear for your child in this world being,
Yeah.
a way that
Right.
the world doesn't accept them. You
Are you
fear
going to be
for
able
your
to
child.
live a fulfilling life?
Yes.
And are you
Yeah.
going to be able to be happy and do what you want to do?
and a lot of
Mhm.
where did we go wrong and things like that. But once
Oh
you
yeah,
get
you
them
get.
through all of that, now they're the biggest advocates out there. She
Mhm.
still thinks people want to murder me at every corner, but besides that, but she's very supportive of it.
But
Or
the thing
supportive
is that
of
you
me,
got to
not the
remember
Not the
that
murder.
there's no such thing out there
murdering.
as a perfect parent, because all parents make mistakes.
Yes.
And all parents,
Yeah.
you cannot hold your parents to perfection, because they'll all fail. And even when you become a parent, you realize that. You look back like, man, I wish I would have done that different, or why did I do that? Only thing you can do is learn and try to move forward. There's no such thing as a perfect parent.
I agree, but they were pretty damn.
Yeah.
That's why it bugs the shit out.
Yeah,
of me.
they were.
Oh yeah. Well, the weirdest thing or weirdest is real. There's a certain point as an adult that you're like, oh God, they're just people. Oh
Yeah.
Jesus, and so you cut
No.
that slack on that because they're
And then you turn 40 and you start parenting your parents, and that's the hard part.
well, that's probably the interesting dichotomy there. But
Or
yeah,
your wife's
good
parents
enough.
will.
Huh?
Your wife's parents too. Don't forget.
Well, my wife's, yes, you do parent your wife's parents as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
But my
my
wife's parents live across the 3,000 miles away, 5,000 miles away.
You go
not
from two
always,
parents to
Will.
four.
Bring them on over, Will. They'll be over there.
I tell them
eventually.
to all the time. I tell my wife that
They're
all the
coming,
time.
Will.
Instead of you going, sending you back there every year, just bring them over here. I was like,
Yep.
only 2 of them left. So
Yeah.
they can stay with us. I don't care.
Bring some duty-free kimchi.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with my mother-in-law staying with us. I mean, when we lived over there, she stayed over at our house, good 80% of the time anyway, because of the kids. So, because my wife was working at times and I was working at times, and so she would be there to help out or do whatever. So, yeah, I like my mother-in-law. And then my brother-in-law, he doesn't plan on getting married at all.
Where's the
As of
plan?
now.
Doesn't plan as in he doesn't want to, or he's like men going.
Yeah,
their
no,
way?
just women are just a pain in his ass. So he just doesn't
Yeah,
want to
that's
get
the
married.
truth.
Wait, I think he's. No. It's just I had to put the gay joke there.
It could be, but yeah, I don't know.
Fill in the
It wouldn't
blank.
bother me either.
Fill in the blank.
Or
But we
one of
love
those-
everybody.
One of the MGTOW guys who just believe in just using women because they use men like that.
I think he's
kind
more of like incel
Okay. All right.
type. Yeah,
Anti-women.
he'd rather play video game. He's
Okay.
scared of them.
Okay, so he needs a girlfriend. Gotcha. Girlfriend.
Could somebody explain what the MGTOW and the whatever the second thing you called it?
Men
Incel.
going their own way.
Men going their
Yes.
own way.
And so I will say,
Yeah,
I'm
without
going to. I'm gonna explain that because I've spent too much time on 4chan, and then we're going
boy.
to. We got about. We just hit hour 3, so we're gonna go for about 30 more minutes, and then we're gonna do our outros. But it's been
Great
friggin' awesome.
4chan.
And
Okay,
so
then.
I mean,
Just move
Men-
along then. Let's
Go no. Well, I just wait. I love our random topic, and I spend too much time on 4chan where that frickin' started because Reddit is like the opposite, and 4chan is like Reddit is like the internet's left wing, and 4chan is like the internet's right wing, and
alt-right.
so. Well, yeah,
alt-right, in a way,
they alt left, alt right, whatever they want to add to their labels and all that shit. That's why I'm politics.
Alt-trans.
Yeah, I still don't know what alt left means. People just started saying that because alt right was a phrase, and so they wanted another cool sounding phrase they could slap on the left. I don't know what alt left means.
When you don't like something, you add a word to it. Generally, it falls into my realm of political correctness. So you want it to be bad, you say neoliberal, neocon. You want it to be bad, you want it to say alt right, alt left. Yeah, whatever you guys want to call it.
Alt right was just a way of traditional right wingers to be labeled as something closer to the far right.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree. There is the far right and the far left. That don't think that I'm whitewashing the crazy people, because the crazy people are who
Amaretto, you out there?
Who I'm talking about.
So alt right was just a way to label people
We
like
love
Ben
Amaretto.
Shapiro as equal to the neo-Nazis, right? Yeah.
I think alt-right was more a term that was applied to like the Tea Partiers that came about in the 2007 to 2010 era, which were.
Let's see, I can simplify.
No, alt-right didn't, but that was a term that came to be associated with sort of like
what
were previously called the Tea Partiers, which were a little bit further to the right than your traditional conservatives.
No, not even close. Tea Party was more libertarian.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. They were more authoritarian and a little bit more religious in their fundamental beliefs.
And damn it, we're going too far into politics. I'm just
we are. We can't go too much further.
I want to do entire politic episodes. I want to do an episode just called Political Science, if that is even an actual thing, and try and figure out if that's a thing. And
it is, yes. A better title would be like political theory or political philosophy. That's just a little more of an accurate term.
It was based on limited government, small government principles, all that stuff. It was
most conservatives claim that they support that stuff, but many authoritarians also have those ideals. Yes.
So I'm just gonna explain the scapegoat. I would say it's men going their own way is a reactionary movement to feminism on the internet. Is that they were like, God damn it, these feminists are gaining ground, and I am extremely, they feel like they've been left. Let me tell you, they feel like they've been left behind. So they sit on there, and let me tell this to guys, because to guys, it is you, okay? You need to go and do your hair. You need to look good. Either you don't have to have hair. Let me tell you, if you don't have hair, shave your goddamn hair, okay? Girls whatever. You look and you trim whatever. Will's like, look, John, I'm trying to look ugly. No, you shut up. Guys who get picked by women, it's because they have something. They have a trait. If they don't look good, they are funny. They find interesting things to be in. And these guys are just frustrated because they don't want to go in the game. They don't want to put the effort. And they look at all these pretty women who just they think roll out of bed or just genetically have it, which they don't. They
are unattainable, but you'd be surprised.
Are unattainable, exactly.
Dude, look at a lot of celebrity women. Look at a lot of celebrity women. Look at the dudes that they either are with or have been with. Like, come on now. Look, if you think that looks can help. I think everybody accepts that. But
going to the gym doesn't hurt.
The more, you don't have to be like this fucking like Ryan Reynolds, Henry Cavill looking motherfucker. You just take care of. If you look like you at least take care of yourself, that's gonna help. But you don't have to be chiseled jaw and all this, handsome guy. You just, as bad as it sounds, there is a point where it's like you are just so hideously ugly that it just. Well,
for women,
I'm sorry, but you are
physical anyway.
Oh
There's
yeah.
Visual. So. Two ways.
Like, looks ain't everything. Yeah.
You want to win over a woman. There are two ways. There are looks in
cocaine and money. Sorry,
which your
Money.
Woohoo!
Money is number one.
Genetically, well,
yep,
that
money.
doesn't hurt. Let me tell you. But,
Hey, it ain't gonna hurt you.
But genetics, or paired with that, you go work out, you enhance it, or you win a woman over. You find out, do you have things that she like? Oh my God, we're into the same things, and he makes me laugh. He makes me feel good about myself. Yada yada yada. So you need to learn how to. And so there are a bunch of instead of, I heart you, bird. But there are a bunch of guys who, instead of either wanting to play the game, or they just don't even know that the game is out there, and they just think that the women should come to them.
Yeah, they're expecting women to fall in their lap, and it's like, no, dude, you got to talk to them. You've got to. I mean, there are women. Don't take this the wrong way. There's a context in which I'm speaking with what I'm about to say. There are times when you can just go up there, have a 2-3 hour conversation with a woman throughout the night and get some. I mean, some people are just kind of looking to have some fun. They're not looking for anything serious. So if that's what you're looking for, you got to be open. Otherwise, you're not going to find it. It's just the way it works. You got to know how to communicate. Get out there. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What you guys are talking about is more like the inceldom. But like originally I said, the MGTOW, which is MGTOW is not.
Oh,
guys
Jesus. What does MGTOW stand for again? Oh, my
men
God.
going their own way. And that's just men who, it's not guys that can't get girls. It's not guys who
they
are
just don't
like
want
that.
to. They're not
They
interested.
don't.
No.
No. They're interested in utilizing women sexually.
Yeah,
but
but
they
not
believe them to be.
relationally,
They believe them to be a liability everywhere else. Because they believe society is structured in such a way to benefit women, like with the court system and the relationship system.
In Asia is very popular right now because prostitution is so prevalent there. It's so easily accessible.
Go on.
That men tend to just utilize that because it's cheaper and easier. And so there's no necessity for them.
Kids, no relationship.
There's no sexual necessity for them to be in a long-term relationship. So they just, go to the massage parlor.
I really do think if they got that over with in this country, if it wasn't so sexualized, they'd get over the V card and they'd be like, oh shit, that's not that big a deal. And then they could be talking. And I'll say this last thing. I totally agree. If what I would even lean towards is just things like, well, just do you have a job? Like things like that, which then say, okay, you are just a person that is self-sufficient.
Are you stuff like that? In your 50s and you're living in your parents' basement doing Discord calls, screaming at people all day?
Yeah, I know. Are you using dead people as fuck Darth?
Okay, Andrew, when I said that, let me clarify. Yeah, he is a piece of shit.
I think Will and Bird were being a little bit facetious when they mentioned the money.
And then I just wanted to
But there is a very big
a kernel of truth.
Exactly.
There is a kernel of truth to it, and I think we all recognize
nothing is
that.
the most important thing, but if I own a 3,000 square foot house and drive a Beamer, it's a lot easier for me to pick up women, regardless.
Not even relationship wise, just like having fun. It's a lot easier. I mean,
well, I think
I go both ways, right? Probably a guy wants a girl to have. It'd be probably bombing if she has a good job and she can.
Well, I think it's been. I mean, we've been. I think part of it is like society, culture, the media has portrayed women in a way that isn't really accurate. Like we portrayed that they're not
to white knight them. Yes, I agree.
That they're not carnal, that they're not just creatures of evolution that look for these things that evolution's wired their brains. Like they just like a guy for their personality, and that's all they really care about. It's not really true. I mean, women are just as carnal as men are carnal. They have they have their lust, they have their things that they look for, and they're looking for something to enhance their life. And that's just how evolution is. They're not bad. They're just
everybody says women are so complicated. I'm like, yeah, women are not complicated. They're thinking the same way that you are, generally speaking.
It's a them problem. I hate to say it's a them problem, but it's not. But they can get over it. It's basically they just
Once
need
you
to
accept
get a little
that-
bit more life experience, and
Once you accept that it is the way it is, then you can adapt to it and you can say, what do I have to offer? And you can start
Yes.
working on that.
and
It's
work
not,
as a partner.
I found comedy for me in
Yeah.
my 20s. Comedy was the best way.
100%.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It really is.
That and
Like-
just not giving a single fuck. Talk
Yeah.
to anybody. I mean,
there you go.
Confidence.
Confidence and
Confidence.
comedy. Like, so I used to walk up, like, one of my favorite lines in bars when I was in my 20s was asking them what kind of car they drive, and they would say, you know, BMW or whatever, and I say I drive a ship brown Pinto, and we should go for a ride sometime. And they would just laugh because it's an absurd thing, right? Who comes out and says they have a ship brown Pinto, and let's go for a roll? And what, she literally just told me she drove a BMW. And then I would just say, hi, my name
But
is
then
Will.
the sort of like underscoring
Self-deprecating.
yourself by saying, yeah, I have just an old ship box outside, kind of. I can't remember the technical term, but there's a subtlety there.
yeah.
When you like sort of undercut yourself
It
in a
is
discussion.
good. It is a good mix of confidence.
It shows a bit of
self-deprecation.
confidence and
And
honesty,
self-
I think, as well.
and
And that's why they say if you want to tell a lie that comes off as more of a lie,
Self-deprecation.
include an embarrassing
Which is part
fact
of
about
comedy.
yourself in it.
Yeah, making fun of yourself. That's what I always do.
Yeah, that's always the best comedy because
And-
you're not picking on anybody else.
And so, guys, it's at 3:15. We have 15
Let's
minutes
do
to
it.
get it back to a terrible end of the world scenario.
I just wanted to clarify something for Titan Uranus really quickly. I wasn't saying that men and women think the same in all respects, but what I was saying is that people always say, well, like, women are so complicated. No, men don't understand women. When it comes to like relationships and things like that, generally speaking, men and women are thinking the same. They're looking for somebody who they can work with. If you just asked about the most broad, most general categories that people are looking for in a partner, you'd probably get the same exact answers for both men and women. They're looking for the same thing.
Love,
We don't think the same in
fulfillment.
every respect, but when it comes to, women get just as horny as
Physical
men do just
attraction.
as often. They talk about it just as
Not
much
all
as
of them,
all
unfortunately,
your
on either
buddies.
side.
Yeah, all your buddies get together and talk about it. Women do the same thing. Women want to go out there and just have some fun and not look for anything serious, just like men do. I mean, this idea that men and women are like complete polar opposites
It's
when it
just the
comes
way
to
that
relationships, then no, that's just
Pop
not
culture
true.
has taught us some things
Yeah.
about them that is not true, that they're not like that when they're really very
Honestly,
similar.
how they aren't like that, because if they weren't like that, then there wouldn't be men who are like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to do it. They can't do it by themselves. I mean, they can, but that's not
That's true.
necessarily enacting it. So if there aren't willing participants,
Well, I mean, and that goes to a
Women.
little cultural critique, which
Also, hi, John.
is when people come out about things like, quote, toxic masculinity, which is actually really just guys doing things that seem to be rewarded by women that don't seem to be things that maybe are virtuous. But if it was a behavior that wasn't, responded
never been
to,
with a virgin.
it wouldn't be
No.
it
I've
wouldn't
never
be
been with a virgin.
done.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
Also, hi, Doc.
Even my first time wasn't with a virgin. I've never been with a virgin in my entire life.
She told I was with someone who was a virgin, but they also said that they had sex with a god. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, wow.
That's
Well,
not
then Amy
possible.
went back in time and made sure that she's not a virgin anymore.
It was
either
a
way.
reach for a joke. It was reach.
The virgin,
At one time.
the ex-virgin Amy.
Ooh,
Ex-virgin.
I
Mary.
forget which movie. I think it's a Ben Stiller movie where the girl says he says I'm a non-practicing Jew, and she says, "Oh, that's good. I'm a non-practicing virgin."
It's like when Sunflower. It's like when Sunflower used the moniker "meat-eating vegan."
Well, I think at the end of it all, the only thing you can't take out of the combination is confidence, whether you have anything to be confident about or not. Confidence.
Like Ken Hovind.
And what?
Like Ken Hovind, he doesn't know anything, but he says it very confidently,
Good.
and people respond to
good
it because he
example.
sounds like what
Yeah.
he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything, but
Yeah.
he says it.
I'm
with
here to
authority.
help.
Can Leo, can you help me out with Titan's question there? I'm not.
I don't know. It's I think it's an inside joke. Yeah. Yes.
I'm not. I don't understand what the universally accepted idea is.
No. Just no. Will, it's an inside joke. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a legitimate question. It's a joke.
Tighten your anus, Will. Tighten your anus.
My anus is always tight.
The party.
There you go.
I have IBS. So.
Oh wow. TMI, Will. Gee.
So you spend some time on the mercy seat
I
from
do.
time to time?
Yeah, I do.
I'm just really hoping that was
girdle.
a joke.
Curious girdle, Amy?
Praying that I can push harder than I can. Yeah.
I'm really sorry I asked the question and threw all of this off for the last half hour.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I could have
It
just
happens every
Googled
show.
it.
So.
Can I get a yeah?
Get some fiber. If you have more fiber in your diet, maybe some prune juice to mix with your.
I'll tell you what, living
whiskey.
in Asia actually helped quite a bit. A lot of the kimchi and the fermented dishes really did help quite a bit, to be honest with you.
Your gut bacteria. Yeah.
I used to have extreme cramping, like literally disabling cramping, where I'd fall to the floor and it felt like somebody was killing me.
The kimchi helped.
I did.
Why take fiber?
Not just the kimchi, but I mean all the fermented food in Asia. So like your fermented bean paste and soy sauce.
Okay, so it was fermentation. Yeah. It would probably just happen if you only had one of the fermented.
Yeah, I mean, like the diet here in the U.S. is so unhealthy that the
it is very bad.
Diet,
like fermented grains.
The United States is we are the worst diet in the world by way more than is even really worth admitting. It's so fucking bad. It's not even funny.
Lies.
Yeah, we eat according to. Yeah, that's exactly it. We eat according to sales and hey, buy this
sells. Yeah.
Orange. Yeah.
Rice, I don't eat. I have rice with every meal now, and that's helped a lot. Just particularly brown rice. I like brown rice.
And it is a carbohydrate, but the way that they eat it, what they pair it with, it really doesn't affect you the way.
And carbohydrates
or stuff will.
Carbohydrates aren't bad for you. The right ones.
No, it's all. As a mix.
It's mainly sugars are going to be the big one. Sugar, sodium, fats, and calories.
Fats
those are the
depends on your fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does depend on the fat.
Sugar's not.
There's
saturated fat. There's what's the other one?
Purified sugar or purified cane sugar is not natural. Never find it in nature. It's just not natural.
Sure, but would you say that to my face, Bird?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sugar.
Sorry.
Bird would.
Because I said trans fat. God damn it.
Tip your waitress, folks.
Bird busting out the comedy.
Oh man, I meant that. That was a total
all over
pun,
Amy.
By the way,
do it, Will. Get her.
What?
She's ready.
For
nothing.
Anyway. I'm ready for it.
Ready for it too.
I think sugar is just an overkill. Sugar's kind of like making cocaine out of the coca leaf. They make.
I didn't know we were talking about before, but now you have my attention.
Sugar is what we make out of cane. It's just sugar's an overkill. You're not going to find it in nature. You have to.
It's just a different kind of sucrose, right? It's all it is.
Well, there are sugars that you find in nature. They're called saccharides, and they are actually quite important to life.
Yeah, right,
but when you say sugar, what you're talking about, correct?
White refined sugar.
You don't find that in nature.
But most of human evolution, humans were hunter-gatherers.
In nature.
Humans were hunter-gatherers, not doing agriculture. So it would be something that you would want to find, like refined, like sugar in nature is like not something you come across all the time.
Fructose.
So we refined it and made it so that you can have as much as you want of it all the time. That's not how we evolved.
Yeah, so I think that's why the sugar is such a problem, because it's just not something we ever had until we started processing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we add a lot of it to our foods.
Even natural cane sugar is better than
the high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup is just trash.
It's so cheap and so easy to mass produce.
A bit of a hot take. I do think that it should be banned. I do not think that high fructose corn syrup should be allowed to be used. I really don't. I just think
I forget
sugar
which
and
comedian.
everything. The sugar in all carbohydrates is where the calories come from. So all carbohydrates have sugars.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, but all of those are natural. They're coming
those
through
are
a natural.
saccharides.
Right, but cane sugar process
Alcohol as well.
is just like I said, it's just like cocaine. You can chew a bunch of coca leaves, and you'll probably get high, but you're not going to get anything like actual cocaine.
There is a comedian.
It can be too much.
Humans are
a bit that
ingenious, though.
But if they if we had discovered sugar now, we would probably classify it as a drug. Probably. Like if no one's seen it before.
Yeah, the religious right would be out there like doing protests against it. Like
they would make it illegal, and then they would secretly have it sold on the streets. They could arrest people.
They'd make it illegal and then pump it into all the poor black communities so that they could arrest black people and throw them in prison so that they could utilize them as wage slaves.
If you keep it illegal, then the price stays high. So then they can use that as a way to raise revenue. Because if you could buy it anywhere,
our government does that. No.
Yeah. I don't believe that. Not in the United States. Nope.
They have our best.
We're too star-spangled freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean the whole drug war has been dead, but they've been doing that for years. Like even the manipulation of opium back in the 1400s, 1500s was
like you talking the Boxer Rebellion in China?
No, I mean so like in Asia they would chemically manipulate or I guess you could say make opium far more addictive than it is naturally, in order to make more money off of it, right? So it's been happening for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
The Boxer Rebellion. Yeah, the British were selling it. The Chinese. Yeah.
So
wonderful.
I don't know, but I would bet that opium is not nearly as deadly as heroin.
It is heroin.
Well, opium.
I understand, but you have to make
like naturally. Yes, of course not. Yeah.
Right. You'd have to process the opium to make the heroin.
I would have to re-look up the studies, but they did rat studies where they took, I want to say, cocaine or crack, and then they put Oreo cookie stuffing in the corner. The rat took Oreo cookie stuffing every time.
Yep.
That scares me.
Wow. Oh, that's disturbing. Oh God.
Praise Oreo cookies.
Praise Oreo cookies, baby.
Oreo's doing something right.
Yeah. What do we have? We now have
we don't need to put drugs in our food. Yeah. We got something better. But
I think they've already done they've already done the thing. Like sugar is it's addictive. It's just it's something that's legal.
Yeah.
It's legal.
I mean, all things are addictive: nicotine, caffeine, alcohol.
Yep.
Shoes.
You said shoes?
He said shoes, and I agree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whether we're addicted to Jews or shoes, we all have our hobbies.
Yeah.
Psychological addictions, masturbation, sex, shopping, gambling, adrenaline.
You had to lead with that one, though, right?
Kind of stuff, man.
I don't know if I'd
into it,
classify masturbation as a.
Sure, it is.
Oh, it's definitely an addiction. Can be.
Really?
It could be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You can get addicted to masturbation.
If you're spending so much time that you can't work or you can't do other things that you need to do.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
I like
there are people that rub themselves raw, man.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, I have heard about that.
What?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that until recently. I've heard that it is actually a problem for somebody that beat it when it's not there. I don't mean to sound vulgar, but
no, it's okay.
So I guess it is a problem for some people. Then it's just just a damn hobby to me.
Amy's more of like an Olympic.
You're bored and the wife's not home. You just all right. Let's see what's on the Naughty Channel.
Some people like knitting. Other people like
Fucking.
You know, we all have our
Where's
exactly.
that?
Well, that takes two to tango. But yes,
Where's your fist fruits, Amy? You got your
2
fist fruits on
plus.
you?
Yes,
I was just about to say 2
always
plus.
have my fist fruits on me. Dun, dun.
From
And
the
okay,
Bible.
ladies and
It's holy.
gentlemen,
They're
we
holy
have a
fist
few
fruits.
more minutes. We've been
How more
talking.
far off topic can we get this conversation in these 2 minutes? Is my question.
Don't challenge us, Will, because
That's a very good question.
Don't challenge. The challenge has been made.
My brain tried to think of something off topic, but I don't know if we could go any more off topic. But we're having fun. We're skeptic and ranting, people. And we have a few more minutes, and we're moving into our outros. We have been talking about the end of the world.
In a few hours.
I know, which is crazy. At least it's later than it was last week. So I did wake up at 6:30 last week.
Before studio, when I told you about that person, that I got a response. So we'll talk about that later.
Oh, really?
Great things are coming out. Yeah, great things are coming on the channel, people.
That's what she said. And absolutely.
Noise.
Stay tuned.
And new shows possibly. So, or
Stay tuned.
New shows definitely, but more.
We'll do a talk skeptic to be about Will's choice of shampoo. There. What do you recommend, Will?
Because I have a beard, I tend to just use beard shampoo and then just use it on my head as well. Yeah.
Beard oil.
Because I don't have much hair on my head anyway. I tend to shave in the shower anyway, so I guess you could say it's shaving cream.
Okay. Is that far enough off topic for you, or would you like to go further?
No, I'm an open book.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Amy, are you like a herbal essences? What do you like?
An open book like the Bible.
Hello.
Yeah, open. It's open. If it's open, yeah.
I use I'm like fighting so hard. Should I stick with the transition and the landing, or answer the question?
Yes.
Both.
But I put lots of product. I put like a conditioner thing, and then I have like this other stuff that's supposed to make it shiny and healthy and stuff.
I bet you probably spend a lot of time in the shower, Amy.
Is it called hair cream?
Probably spend a lot of time in the shower.
Far more.
Do you use hair cream?
For ladies.
I'll give the shout out.
Oh, here she goes.
So like my shelf in the bathroom has one bottle, has shaving cream, beard wash, body wash, and my razor, and that's it.
I thought you were going to say beer.
And then my wife's shelf has like 9 million different concoctions that I have no idea what any of them do.
You figure you drink one of them and maybe you'll end up the size of the Hulk. Who knows what potions they got mixed in
Turn
those.
into a zombie or something.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever she uses.
Busy lifting drinks.
It works.
So I'm gonna go. I can't put the brands, but I'm gonna go fully girly on you. So
they haven't sponsored her yet. Next year she'll be sponsored.
Yo, we're cruising along. Trying do, and we love all of our subs and viewers out there sending so much love.
Amy's got so many subs.
I have so many subs, and they love to get on their knees. And okay.
Wow. Go on.
Go on. You have my attention. Okay.
Where's Peter with the soundboard with Amy? First of all,
I want to do a role play.
I would like to do a role play. I like to be I'm really good at being on my knees. I just tried to imitate myself. That was a little weird.
Oh, Tangelo, I be the girl, Amy. You be me. I be the wife. Do it, Amy.
Oh boy.
Do it.
I want to do. Wait, do a role play. Okay, you be Antangelo, and I'll try and be myself.
You be Otangelo, Leo.
Okay.
I'll pass.
This is okay. Okay, I'm gonna go full girl moment.
Go ahead.
So I do L'Oreal Total Repair. I mix it with Main Magic 10-in-1 conditioner. That's 2 conditioners. I then have
The horse.
I see. Yes, I am. You know, they have like horse
main
mane
Did you
magic.
just say 10 in one conditioner?
Yes.
Did you just say 10 in one conditioner?
10 and 1.
Yes, it says 10 and 1.
10
That's
and
why my wife has
10
like 12 bottles
what?
on her. So.
That's a good question. It
So let's see, it
moisturizes,
moisturizes,
reduces
it conditions,
frizz,
it fluffs,
strengthens,
it electrifies,
softens.
it charges,
Exfoliates. It
My-
masturbates.
Yeah.
Sucks. Fuck.
I
buy
could go
it, use
on.
it, break it, fix it, trash it, charge it, melt, upgrade it, change
See,
it,
but then
point it, zoom it,
in, be-
It even
In-
rinses itself off.
in between when I have to like pat my
It'll take
hair
out the
down
trash.
and then blow dry my hair, then I do 3 more products.
Oh, it doesn't blow
So I
dry
have
itself?
2
That's not one of the
3
10?
projects. No.
So wait, 10
Damn.
and 1. So
You
you
got
have
ripped off.
5 things that are 10 and 1. So that's 50 and 5.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And one of them doesn't blow dry your hair? Damn. That's sad.
Lucky for
Waste
me,
of money.
beard wash tends to also be beard and face wash. So I just do all of this.
You know, that is the joke, is that's the eternal joke, is that women have to do all this like blah 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 blah.
They don't
And
have
then
to.
guys get like this like big tub and it's like
Head, face,
shaving
beard,
cream,
balls, and body
yeah,
wash.
it's everything. It's just like
I do have a body wash.
And car,
yeah.
you can
Beard
use it
and
on your
face.
car if you want.
Yeah.
You can use it on your dog.
I do have a beard conditioner, but I rarely use it. Rarely use it because I use beard oil after I get out of the shower, or beard balm. I don't really condition my beard with
like
beard
you said,
conditioner.
beer bong.
Beard balm.
I think we all
Mostly
heard
because it
that.
just smells good.
You ever done a beer bong, Amy?
That's too easy.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Yeah, they're fun.
Ever done a 2-story beer bong?
No, I wouldn't. I know a guy who did a one. It was either a 1 or 2 story. He said it's not even worth doing.
No, it's
Said
almost
you,
like,
for like 5 seconds you feel like you're drowning.
you might as well be waterboarded. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the same thing.
I don't know.
You know you can fit 6 cans of beer in a 2-story bong, right? And it empties in like less than 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, like it's done. Like it rockets into your. It's bad.
Yeah,
That's like
I've
the,
never seen anybody do it without vomiting after.
Yeah, that's what my buddy said. He's like,
So you can find
you
videos
can-
on YouTube where people
beer.
can handle it, but I've never seen it in person where someone didn't vomit after a 2-story bong.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have hit as far away.
beer bongs.
It's actually been a great conversation, though. I've had
While
fun.
we wait, we hide, right?
While we wait for the apocalypse, yeah.
While we
we're
wait.
waiting to be-
Well, that was the
hide,
thing,
right?
is that it's not a very cheery subject to begin with. It's the end of the world. But I think
can
we
cheer it up.
survived the universe's latest attempt at doing that lately. So good job, everyone in society. What's that, Leo?
I just want to let everybody know that we won't have to worry about the end of the world for another 10 to the 100th years, if not closer to 10 to the 160th years.
Okay, Otangelo.
Nailed it. That was also my next guess.
Too bad for those people that do have to worry about it. That live
the
10
odds
to the 100 years from now.
The odds to have a
That's the
protein
people.
formed by random chances, 1 in infinity to the infinitieth. Therefore,
Oh, wow.
God.
Okay, I get it.
Makes sense.
I'm converted.
Praise Jesus.
Gives me lots of faith.
I
Walk
now
the green mile.
believe-
Get right with Jesus. Gonna walk the
Dead
green
man
mile.
walking.
I'm
Get
telling you
right
right
with
now,
Jesus.
nothing ever made me believe like that 3D periodic table. Nothing ever gave me more faith.
You're now a believer. She sold it.
Ooh.
But Jen's gonna come on and
She's
we're
not-
gonna
I'm
just
talk
just
teasing,
teasing
consciousness.
Jen for crying out loud.
We'll-
I mean, she comes on and she really takes a beating, but she keeps on going.
She's like Otangelo, man. Just keep coming back for more, you know? You don't
I
know
will say
why,
that's
but
how I
they
Like
like-
old one-eye.
She gets like 3 words out, and Leo's ready to just like, no, 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 no,
You're wrong about that too.
no.
I want a 40 model, actually.
Bye,
Now
Pat.
we're
We'll see
on
you,
it.
buddy. Bye.
Is Pat going? Oh, Night, Pat.
He said, "Have a great day," and I was like, "What do you mean, have a great day?" And then I remembered it's 7:37 in the morning where he's at.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's getting ready to dig, I guess.
Yeah, you have a good day, Pat. If you see my future wife, tell her that I love her, and I will see her when I get home. I don't even know where the fuck he's at in the country, so it's probably on the opposite fucking side.
He's over the pond. That's right.
he's in London.
Oh, is he?
He's going to be digging by Hadrian's Wall, so that's a little up north in the.
He may be an American werewolf in London.
Did you know that in Scotland they have like 24 hours of daylight, like they do in Alaska? I didn't even realize that.
Really?
Yeah.
They're a bit norte up there.
But it's not near snowy or icy.
That's way up in Scotland, but I don't think
that's because they're by the ocean. You got that salt water. Except when the winds come down from northern Europe, then it can get real fucking cold.
Water.
You ought to hear British people say water. Water?
Water.
Or they'll say it, water. Would you like me to grab you a bottle of water?
Yeah, I deal with British people all day, every day, so that's my...
I like all the accents
soccer,
of English.
with your soccer
all of them.
Yeah, my English football.
Soccer.
Yeah, don't call it soccer, or you'll get laughed at.
I don't know what soccer is.
Soccer.
Yeah.
Well, I intentionally do it, even though
I know what football is, and then I know what American football is. But
there you go. That would be the proper response, Leo.
Transition outros, Amy. Really, Amy.
That
quit being pretentious.
Amy works like transition into.
I'm just telling you how they feel.
I can't help it. I try and transition into everything I do. And with that, we are transitioning into the mimes.
The super straight mimes. The super straight mime.
Why are they wearing stilts?
That is a good question that you will have to ask them. And speaking of which, well, we have been skeptic and ranting. We had a good amount of the end times loving before we came back down to earth. I hope you had a good time. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I would say this is going to get me in trouble.
Dun, dun, dun.
In my opinion, a responsible theologian doesn't add to the text. They can make reasonable assumptions based on the information in the text, but they don't claim things as actual without evidence supported by text. So that's why I tend to not do that. So unless there's textual evidence for it, I don't make that claim theologically. And you should do the same for all eschatology.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, Will. I always love having you on. And all right, we're moving right down with
you love having him on, Amy. We know.
Woohoo! I can't help it. And I love his lighting. That too. But
although my beard is very untidy today. My beard is very untidy today.
Yeah, you got a lot of gray hair in there.
But it's okay. You had the oil, right? So it all tames
it needs
a little
trim.
bit.
It needs trim.
And thank you.
That's pretty good for looking rough.
It's making up. Yeah, it makes it up from bottom and top. It looks good. Moving along, we are going to go scapegoat. We are having fun. We are midnight rant. We are skeptic and ranting, though it did get past midnight. But I swear we started earlier, so it's been a fun time on End Times Theology. Hope you had a fun time. Where can people find you? What are your final thoughts?
Well, they can't find me, but I'm here. I really enjoy the show. I'm glad I got to come on tonight.
Thanks for coming on. It was good to get to meet you. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I hope to be back on again if it's if it's right to do anyway. And I would want to say this: if we're ever on the show and Will disappears, we'll know what happened.
Yes, you will.
That's it.
We'll be able to make one of those Left Behind movies.
Yes.
Say hi to
The power of
Kent for us when you
OBS,
get
though,
up
that's
there,
very
Will,
easy
right?
to do. I could easily do that. Just shoot some footage with me in my chair and then just transition it out.
Well, say hi to Kent when it happens up there, because yeah.
All right, we'll do.
And all right. Thank you so very much, Scapegoat. And that's right. Come join us. We throw live shows kind of every other day, or at least 2 or 3 times a week tends to be our schedule, with more premieres coming to
Soon.
in the future.
Coming down
soon.
the mountain.
Coming soon. Thank you.
Imagine Otangelo in that thing, The Rapture, who'd be like, "I told you guys, I told you so.
I told you.
I told you, now you see."
Now, does that mean we're just burning at that point, or we just go back to living? Because if I could just go back to playing video games,
depends on
then
when, what part of where is it pre-trib? If it's pre-trib, we just go on living. Hey, 1.4 billion people just disappeared from the planet. I guess they were abducted by aliens. Let's keep it moving.
Wrong person.
Yep, I just noticed that he just bye, Scapegoat. I hope you have a nice night.
She just wanted to see you again, Will. Don't.
Yes. And bird is the word. We have been skeptic and ranting. We have been talking about end of the world theology. I hope you had a good time. Where can people find you? What are your final thoughts?
People can find me on whatever. I'm not a self-promoter. But yeah, cool night. We covered the whole gamut of topics, which was really fun. And it was another good night to see and hear everybody. Woohoo!
Good, great to have you on, Bird.
Thank you so very much, Bird. And all right, Leophilius, we have been both skeptic, as I hit my table, and ranting. We have been looking at end times theology. Where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts tonight?
People can find me if they're interested in finding me. Some most probably aren't. I don't blame them. On my YouTube channel or my Twitter. I like I said, I don't really know or care much about end of times theology, eschatology, as I believe it's called. It's just not interesting to me. You don't need to worry about the end of the world. If you mean the end of the world to mean the end of Earth, that won't come for another 4 to 4.5 billion years. If you mean the end of the universe, the universe will never go out of existence, so you don't have to worry about that. The universe won't reach thermodynamic equilibrium for another, like I said, 10 to the 100th, if not 10 to the 160th years, if potentially even longer than that. We're talking a number of years. A number of years so high that it's not even worth trying to tell you how high it is. Just a quick reminder to everybody from yesterday that on the next Midnight Ranting, your assignments are due. Assignments are worth 20% of your grade. If you're struggling with the assignment that's been given, you guys can always form your study groups. The library, it's a couple rooms down. There's good study groups you can have in there. You can find me in my office hours. So, when I'm not teaching, you can come in there and we'll work through some stuff. Otherwise, yeah, next Midnight Ranting, I expect that to be on my desk. So,
the study hall is in hell.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, Leo. And all right, with that, I think I'm just handing the keys over to James. We have been Midnight Rant. We have been, I keep on saying, we have been skeptic and ranting. We actually got to do videos today. Exactly. And woohoo! Thank you so much, Scapegoat. It was a pleasure having you on.
It was a pleasure. I've seen him in chat before, but yeah, good to have him finally come on.
And all right, James, the floor is yours.
So yeah, end of the world. To me, it's interesting because being a Christian for so long, it was something that I heard a lot about, that I would research on from time to time. It was really interesting trying to figure out what's going to happen. does the Bible apply to real life? And
No.
at the end of the day, you have to say no. I don't think it does. It's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. It's the world's not going to end, like Leo said, for a long, long time. And who knows? Maybe by then we'll figure out how to quantum tunnel into a new universe. And yeah, but thanks for joining us. We will be back in a couple days, I imagine. Probably not tomorrow, but we will be back shortly. Amy is working on a new episode, and we've got lots more coming down the pipe. That's what Amy said.
Amy loves pipe.
Indeed. I do like putting things down the pipe. And okay. I know. I agree. Do it to me, baby. All right. I hope you all had a fun time on this episode of Skeptic and Ranting.
They're all empty. They got nothing left.
Theology.
It all came out. It all came out. They got nothing
blew
left.
Their load.
Yes.
Where tonight we threw an apocalypse party as we talked about the end of the world. So light conversation.
You worried, Amy? It could happen any moment. Any moment.
It could happen to any moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to thank my co-host James W. along with our guests Bird, Leophilius, Scapegoat, and Will Stewart, along with all the lovely people in chat on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, with our amazing viewers and our awesome mods who make this stream so great. Don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe and hit that all button icon so you can be part of our live streams. And if you'd like to help us make even more fun content, feel free to check out our Patreon at patreon.com.
The world's gonna end. Don't worry about it. Just be a Patreon. Don't worry about bills or kids' college fund.
I'm Amy Newman.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Oh my God! They took him.
Goodbye.
Oh.
Look out your window. You'll see Otangelo flying up there.
He's having a role play with him.
With his middle finger pointed down to us. See, atheists, I told you I was right. Fuck you.
I told you.
Hey,
when you go, do your clothes go with you, or do you just hop up out of those?
Yes.
How does that work?
It doesn't say.
In my chair.
Now, the Bible does talk about when the rapture happens, there will be gay people going up too.
I just wish it would be funny if you said when the rapture happens, there will be gay people. That would have been a funnier sentence. But yeah.
Because the Bible is very clear. The Bible is very clear that there will be 2 men in bed, and then there will only be 1 man in bed.
Ooh.
Oh my.
Yeah.
2 men, 1 bed.
2 men down to 1. One of them went up. The other one wasn't a Christian.
Woohoo!
I'm a ghost now.
But yes, I heart you all. You can find us at patreon.com.
Have a great night, guys.
Amy Newman, I heart you all. I'm Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z.
Woo! Fuck you, Darth.